Matt from Foulball Productions here. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hope that you're doing well. I'm doing great. Thank you very much. Here with my partner in crime fighting, Vigilante Williamson.
Vigilante Williamson here in the 7th episode of the Culture Crime Fighters, not the 8th, because last week was not an episode of the Culture Crime Fighters.
Oh, did I get the numbers wrong? Yeah, that's right. It wasn't an episode, technically.
No. Yeah, but it wasn't. I mean, I don't.
It wasn't.
Yeah. Which number did you put? You put 7 or 8?
I think I put 7. I don't know.
Okay, 7's right. 7's right.
Okay, good. 7. Then this is the Culture Crime Fighters. We are a culture crimes task force so powerful, so far-reaching, not even the most dastardly of villains can escape. Our goal is to identify and defeat all culture criminals wherever they lurk and destroy them. For too long have these cretins carried out their nefarious deeds, and we will sit for it no longer. Beware. You may commit your culture crimes, but if you do, justice will be served at the hands of the Culture Crime Fighters. Hello. How's it going, everybody?
Man. Yeah, how is it going, everybody?
Got a pretty healthy chat going already. We've got Sentient Dildy is in the chat. Hello, Sentient Dildo.
Hell, man.
Snortopupus Cuber.
Shout out to the polar bear. Sentient sex toy contingent. Always
and
demographics we reach.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely. We got Grinakuma and the Islington girl and Jake D. Oh, the gang's all here. Hi, gang.
Yeah. Appreciate you all being here.
How's it going, Vig?
It's going pretty good, man. Quite a bit to talk about, really. There's a lot of stuff, like little different things we can touch on. But how are you doing, man? How's the move been? How's everything going? As far as
it's going.
Austin, I know I kind of asked you a little bit beforehand, but
no, that's all right. I mean, it's going. I'm making it work. Just like doing my best without all my stuff. But I got news from the movers, so they're moving out in the next 24 hours, however long it takes for the stuff to get to me. I don't know, but making it work. I got a new microphone, new Chromebook on the way, and I don't know, just trying to do the best I can with what I got, my friend. Yeah.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. I appreciate you being able to make the podcast this week. I know it's a lot. It's hard without all your stuff, but hopefully you get it soon, man. It's kind of jacked up, but
yeah, it shouldn't be too much longer. Hopefully, I don't know. I'll make it work. Anyway, I'm happy to be back.
Yeah.
Happy to be streaming with you, my friend.
Yeah. Likewise, man. Likewise.
Yeah, I've been listening to some of your streams, man. You are. I was re-listening back to the Tail Lounge. You're a great host, my friend.
Really? I just hope that I'm glad the channel's still here. Seriously, I'm glad we didn't nuke everything.
Me too.
I tried not to, but a couple times it got a bit spicy.
Well, that's what I love about it.
You froze for a little bit. I'm like, oh man, they're about to nuke us now. There's a little bit of freezing.
I hope not. I'm kind of at the mercy of this internet connection right now, so I hope that it's solid. And this computer is not the fastest, but it is what it is. But we do have some super chats to start out already, which is wonderful.
Cool.
Jake D with a $5 super chat. Thank you very much, Jake D. Hail. And it says, nice new intro. Hail, gentlemen, and chat.
Hail, Jake D.
Yeah. One of the favored, one of the members of this community. Wonderful guy. Got me my start for the most part. Streaming with anyone that wasn't just me. Snortopoopa says a wee bit of buffering is all. Yes, I apologize. Bear, you guys are going to have to. It's this week's setup. I apologize.
We'll do what we have to. We'll
do our best. The Islington girl with a $5 super chat. Here's some money from my jerk utility company that had to pay me back after overcharging me for 2 years.
Oh, yeesh.
Well, that sucks. Thank you very much. I'm glad that they gave you the money back and that you shared it with us. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Very generous. So, some stuff going on this week. And chiefly the what's his name again? Ray Wilson. Is that it?
Ray Fisher. I've had where I'm not going to call him Cryborg, but I understand you if you do. But real quick, speaking of wokeness, Ascension Dildo says, Matt, I think you're a great progressive and an ally for letting an oppressed minority run your channel. Bravo, sir, bravo. Thank you, Ascension Dildo. We appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, I've always been a supporter of marginalized people.
Oh God, Jesus, that's what kills me about the Ray Fisher thing. Like, because I have multiple. There's multiple takes to this. There's multiple layers. Because first, I want to say two things can be true. Because one thing I do not understand is why people. I understand criticizing Ray Fisher because I'm about to. But I don't understand defending Warner Brothers who pissed in your face just a couple weeks ago, and we're still the most wrong in this whole situation. And the only thing you're defending them is because they didn't let their creepy ass director, who's got a lot of smoke when it comes to that fire of being a creep. They didn't let him steal the movie from the guy whose kid offed himself, and they didn't let back on the movie. So that's what you're defending. Like, listen, the fact that, like, reading this article. And actually, I have it shared. So if you want to share it,
wait, can I just want to clarify on what you were saying just a second ago, because when you said the creepy director, was that Joss or was that Zach?
Joss Whedon? Whedon. I'm talking about that creep, yeah, because Zach is not necessarily. He's an asshole.
Yeah, I've never heard that he's a creep.
Not the creep thing. Yeah, I was talking about Joss, but yeah, they were. That's what they were doing in order to take Ray Fisher's part away, but at the same time, goodness, man, everything is about, like, he really he's selling it like this cyborg role was like Rosa Parks sitting on the bus. Like, man, chill. Dude, chill.
That's hilarious.
But that's the thing. Multiple things are true. You don't have to. This is not mutually exclusive. You can still say, hey, Warner Brothers, you probably were assholes, and Joss Whedon, you are an asshole. And Ray, you're probably trying to milk this. And you probably have a point at the same time. I understand seeing shadows. I understand there's like a little part in the article where they talk about not wanting him to be an angry black man. I could get, and one thing the article doesn't talk about is the fact that he did have a movie. There was a cyborg movie that was planned, and that got scrapped. So I can get being pissed from his perspective of the entire character got changed, as we saw with the Snyder cut. We saw a different version, and it was a totally different character, and honestly, it was one of the biggest, positives to me in the movie. And you can see where he got wrong, but like I said, man, he just, I almost did a 180. I'm at a 90-degree change. Like, I'm not gonna call him Cryborg. I'm not gonna shame him, but I'm not gonna stop you if you do, man. Cause I get it.
To me, I don't have really like a strong opinion about this either way. Honestly, like, I think it's interesting fodder for conversation. Like, I was listening to the Midnight's Edge stream about this, but like, honestly, if it were just me, just as a fan, as like not, a cultural commentator, I wouldn't even pay attention to this. I wouldn't even hear this.
Yeah, me neither.
It'd be like, who gives a shit? Okay, whatever. Yeah, great. More racism. Like, the assertion that Warner Brothers, that Hollywood would do anything that was alienating minorities in the late 20 teens is laughable. That's a laughable concept to me. It's like it has been the focus. What?
I would disagree, because Batwoman is fucking driving a van down by the river, intentionally alienating is probably a better word, because a lot of their wokeness is. I know what you mean.
Meaning that they would try to lower the depiction of people of color in their movies. It's like, are you paying attention to anything that's going on in Hollywood? Now, will their depictions be inept? Certainly. But the idea that they would be, we want to make sure we minimize his character and his family, and because we're all these like secret racists, is ridiculous.
Yeah. And I guess that's where I get why people are upset, but it's also like, fuck Warner Brothers. I don't want to defend them on anything, but one thing, if there's a hot take to my take, is I do think his original tweet, which actually doesn't mention race at all, it has a air accuracy, especially because one thing that's left out, one thing that's brought up in that article, and I think other articles, this is some of the treatment that Gal Gadot and maybe even Momoa may have faced. But he said Joss Whedon's on-set treatment of cast and crew of Justice League was gross, unprofessional, and completely unacceptable. He was enabled in many ways by Jeff Johns and John Berg. Accountability over entertainment. Had he not made it a racial issue at all, he probably would have more people defending him.
100%. It is so the boy who cried wolf at this point with racism, where you're just like, I don't believe you. I hear it constantly. I'm sorry. I just, how many times am I going to hear this, uncover the situation and be like, that's not racism? It's like, it's so unfortunate because it means actual incidences of racism are going to go unacknowledged because it's just so over talked about. Like, you're like, okay, all right, I don't believe you.
Yeah. Had he not, and it's not just this, like how many stories that, like, if we, especially us, because we, you know, been doing channels and stuff, have we seen over the past 6 months? Every few weeks, it was like, oh, Ray Fisher is back in another news for something else. It's like, goodness gracious. If there were a million, I do think he was wrong, but man, he handled it. He mishandled it.
Yeah, I think he's got a legitimate gripe as an actor. If like I showed. You just cut me out of my movie and I had all this arc and all this stuff that we shot and some new guy comes in, like, you know, I would have an issue with it. And maybe if I was a black guy, maybe I'd be like, you know, this feels a little racist. Like you cut down my part and this, that, and the other. The thing is though, like that happens in acting a lot. Like people will show up to their premiere only to learn that their entire role had been cut from a movie and no one told them.
Yeah. That happened to the Joker, Jared Leto, in the same universe.
Yeah, it happens. I mean, it happens like fairly frequently. Is it cool? No. Should you be upset about it? Sure. Is it racist? I mean, I doubt it. You know, it's like, it's just bad storytelling. Like if the only thing he bungled was the Cyborg storyline, maybe you'd have a case. But that whole thing was a clusterfuck. It's like, you know, it's just one more casualty of that whole mess, you know, and it's, I don't know. It's an interesting thing because I think like Uche did a stream. I mean, it's Uche, but Uche was doing a stream like hashtag I stand with Ray Fisher. And I think even Culture Casino, at least early on, I watched his video this morning, like his 6-minute news video, which is a pretty cool little video. He mentioned that it sounded like his opinion was that Ray was going to expose some people in Hollywood. I don't know. To me, it just sounds.
I don't know that happened. Go ahead.
No. It just sounds to me like Cryborg. It does.
Yeah, I don't stand with him. I'm not going to call him Cryborg because I do think he has a gripe. I get seeing ghosts. I get feeling like what the hell are they talking? If that angry black man conversation, I get that's awkward. But the one thing I won't defend is the damn booyah, because if you didn't do enough research to know that he said booyah in a cartoon, then that's on you, Ray. Like you gotta fucking. That's just that. Him being mad about that tells me he didn't even research the role, honestly. Because like you would know that
Cyborg's inclusion in the Justice League. Isn't Cyborg even being in the Justice? What's that?
Oh no, I said is it off? Yeah, a little bit, and so I think it's the timing is getting messed up.
Rats. No, I was saying, but isn't Cyborg even being there kind of like a bit of inclusion and diversity? Because I was listening to Young Ripa's Justice League history video last night, and like Cyborg is a very peripheral character in that universe. Like he's not really part of the Justice League.
No, he's a Teen Titan, and that's a very like recent past 10 years they made him.
Even your inclusion is like, hey, we're trying to make this more diverse, and you're like, it was so racist. It's like you're not even supposed to be there, man. Like that character doesn't even belong in that fighting.
There are more prominent black characters, honestly. Like even if you wanted to include, you would have probably picked a more. I would have thought Green Lantern John Stewart, because a generation of kids grew up with the cartoon. It was him as their Green Lantern. So outside of race, there's like a generation of kids who that is their Green Lantern, and now they're in their 20s and 30s. So you would have thought that John Stewart Green Lantern, if you got to pick a diverse quote unquote hashtag trademark character, you would have went with that, honestly. Especially because Green Lantern, if you watch that same thing, usually the Green Lantern is a part of the Justice League, and there's at least one of them. So
Sentient Dildo says Sentient Dildo says, listen to Matt, people. He knows a lot about what's up.
I'm just saying to what Sentient Dildo said. Go ahead.
Yeah, he says he knows a lot about being erased from movies. So. Fuck you.
Stay classy, Sentient Dildo. Stay classy.
I love him. All right. Do you want to open the article and we'll get into it?
Yeah. Real quick, I just had to tweet up real quick because I actually do think the tweet has some merit. Had he just fucking kept it, hey, this is and I got it shared. I don't know if you can open it.
Yeah, I can.
There you go. Cool. This is just a tweet first. And yeah, again, to kind of recap the tweet, I actually think that the tweet has merit. He's just said that Whedon's on-set treatment was gross, abusive, unprofessional, and completely unacceptable. And there's merit to that. But this article, man, like I said, somebody who he almost got to 180. It's a rough thing. But at the same time, I don't like defending Warner Brothers because they just pissed in my face. And honestly, all they did was steal a movie away from a guy whose kid offed themselves. So like, it's not like they did this for something good. And the movie sucked. I can go through the article real quick.
You think the movie sucks now?
No, the first one, the original Justice version, the Justice
League,
cut.
Yeah.
It was not good.
Right, they bungled it, and it almost seems like the only things Warner Brothers does right is kind of by accident. Like it seems like, like when they intend to do things, it always seems like a mess. Like, the Snyder cut that's been so well received, pretty much, universally. It sounds like it's created such a division amongst executive types and old Hollywood types and people who want to keep their power and like people who actually want to make interesting entertainment. It seems like it's created such a rift, like in their own company. And it's like they don't seem like the kind of people I want to cheerlead for. Yeah.
And just some more support for Jon Stewart. Gazillionaire says Jon Stewart is a great character. And Manilo Rivera is right. Zach did try to include Jon Stewart, but Warner Brothers said no because they're doing something else with the Green Lanterns. And they're stupid. They don't know what they're doing. They never have a uniform plan ever.
No, it really seems like they fucked it up. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what it boils down to. None of this would be happening if Warner Brothers didn't fuck it up. So as much shit as I'm going to talk about Ray Fisher in the next few minutes, I want that to be clear. I still blame Warner Brothers. If I had to blame one person, to me, they're the most at fault because them being a clusterfuck caused all of
that's a great point of view. Would you mind reading it though, just because the resolution is so crappy on this?
Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
Go with the headline, and this is a long article, so we don't have to go through the whole thing.
Oh, and real quick, just before you do, apparently it is National Beer Day, and so I'm celebrating with a Lone Star beer in celebration of the new state that I live in, Tejas. So, cheers.
Yeah, hell to the chat. Midnight's Edge after dark.
Just shit! What up, Thomas?
Hell, Tom.
How's it going, man? I was watching and mentioned your stream earlier on the Ray Fisher situation. So
your stream was pretty definitely informative. And I mean, disagree with some points, agree with others, and we'll go over it.
I thought it was a great chat. I don't know if you got a chance to see that, but a great panel. Really, like lots of cool. Latino slant was there. It was a really good show.
Yeah, shout out to Paulie. Shout out to Mr. H, whose movie just released. If you haven't checked it out, and I actually had to check it out.
I want to see it.
Yeah, it's on his YouTube.
No. Yeah, I know, for free.
Yeah, it's free. He's selling like Blu-rays with the special like behind the scenes and different stuff like that. But and apparently he doesn't know how many he can sell because he said he doesn't know how much money he'll make because he's this is the first time he did it.
Yeah, so I got that impression when he was promoting it, and like I forgot the other guy from Midnight's Edge was trying to like pump it up, and he's like, "Yeah, no, it wasn't that good. I wish I could change it." He's like, "All right, I'll sell your movie for you."
he's like too busy being like you know how artists are. They hate that stuff.
Just being overly humble. Did Disease just give himself a shout out?
Did he?
Yeah, it said Disease. Shout
out to Disease. Yes, he did. Shout out to Disease.
Shout out to Disease.
All right, let's get into this. Ray Fisher opens up about Justice League, Joss Whedon, Joss Whedon and the Warners. I don't believe some of these people are fit for leadership. Over the past year, the actor has assailed the filmmaker and studio in harsh but cryptic tweets for what he said was racist and inappropriate conduct. I'm not so indebted to Hollywood that I haven't been willing to put myself out there. Ever since June 2020, when he fired off a tweet, again, that's this tweet that I just read a second ago, which again, I there's a sentiment of truth to it. Accusing Joss Whedon of gross, abusive, unprofessional, completely unacceptable conduct on the set of Justice League. The 33-year-old actor has used social media and a series of interviews to allow serious allegations and racist behavior, racist behavior, and a cover-up at Warner Brothers. For Fisher, who plays Cryborg in the film, the issue is no longer so much what happened on the set in 2017 after the director was replaced by Joss Whedon, though he's ready to explain that too. His unrelenting focus in recent months has been the way of executives. First at Warner Film Studio, then his parent Warner Media handed allegations raised by himself and others.
Well, I'll just say this before we go any further. Like the idea that they would want to cover up, that there would be an internal cover up, I believe that 100%. No matter what the allegations are, the idea that the studio would have some kind of drama and wouldn't want it to get out and they'd want to take care of it before the public saw it, I believe that 100%.
Yeah. And to be, for the longest time, the Snyder Cut was a myth. And they were, there's no Snyder Cut. There's no Snyder Cut. So I think this whole thing was a mess, and Warner has been trying to just bury it since then, including this, just everything, just scorch earth, get rid of it.
I believe that.
That does not happen. That does not happen.
Just another red shirt here. What's up? Just another
another red shirt.
Hell.
Not just another red shirt. He's the red shirt.
The red shirt.
And hell, everyone else who may have showed up. I see Mike Beat, Rajesh, who I just saw on Jake D with talking about Tropic Thunder. So shout out to Rajesh. Shout out to Jake D.
Rajesh is streaming?
Yeah, he was just streaming. He streamed with Jake D. They were talking about Tropic Thunder.
Oh, I didn't see that. Cool.
Yeah.
Right on.
More channels. That's what we need. We need more channels.
Join the true resistance.
And Brightest Day, I'm not sure if he's here. He's helping me with my shorts because I've been trying to do shorts, the little TikTok thing, and apparently I've been doing it wrong, but hopefully I'll get it right.
I saw you put out short content. That made me happy. I watched I'd already seen it because I was there live, but it was the story of that dude. I forgot his wife, like his situation with the ladies in his life.
Oh, the guy. Oh, Sean Watson.
Hey, Jennifer Sisko's here. Hey, Jennifer Sisko.
Hey, Jennifer Sisko.
I haven't seen you live in so long. Great to see you.
Yeah, she actually watched one of those videos. Yeah, Brightest Day. Brightest Day. He is there. Yeah. Oh, we're getting in. Is this prime streaming time right now? I did not know that, Dutch Kitty.
Yeah, there's a lot going on right now. A lot of streaming. Boy.
So
it's a busy day.
Competition.
Yeah.
We still got 16 people here.
Hell yeah, we do. 16 rock stars.
Yeah, you guys are rock stars. God, reading this article, man. And I'm going ahead, and I'll just say my issues, man.
Yeah, man, go for it.
I'm gonna go with my Stephen A. Smith. As a black man, I just hate wanting the narrative. Like I see this is a little further ahead, but it's like Fisher was raised by a single mother and his grandmother, and what the fuck does this have to do? And there's there's a lot of what the fuck does this have to do with what we're talking about? But it's a part of the narrative, and it's like this is why he gets criticism. Which, to be fair, again to Ray Fisher, he actually defended fans. That story kind of could have been political, who knows? But when Ann Sarnoff said something about toxic fans, he defended fans, and a lot of those fans have and probably still will call him Cryborg, but he did defend them, so I will give him that. But this article just projects so much fucking weakness, and I'm just tired of seeing that. Personally, that's a personal thing.
I get that. I think that's reasonable. I think a lot of these, it's like Cameron Pasha says it a lot, that these outlets are written, they're basically PR for the industry. Like they kind of powerful people within the industry use it to get whatever they want out there. And this could not be, there's potential that this is not an exception, and that this is almost exclusively written by a PR person, someone who does publicity. And that's why they include that thing to make them seem more sympathetic.
I believe that. I believe that, but it's fun. These things that are now tenets of sympathy and all that, just it's come off as weak, and I don't know if that's just me reading into them. I'm tired of seeing them.
Comes off a little racist too, to be completely honest.
Yeah, that too.
You know,
and that's the
patronizing.
That's what I mean.
You know?
Yeah, like, oh, we're just okay.
This poor black boy.
Yeah, I'm tired of that shit.
That's what it comes across as. Buckaroo Bizao is here. Bezao, what's up, man? Lunar Raid, cool. Great.
Hey. Yeah, what about Will Smith? He was in Suicide Squad. He was indeed in Suicide Squad, Islington Girl.
That's James. No. Who did that one?
The first one was David Ayer. You're talking about Will Smith. He was in it.
David Ayer.
And then Sentient Dildo with his racism, talking about crack rock. Has nothing to do with anything. I was tolerant to your people of sentient sex toys, and this is the
thanks I get. We're supposed to be united, brother.
Yeah. Just messing with your sentient. Just messing with it. I'll read the part about Catherine Forrest. Catherine Forrest, a former federal judge who conducted the water media probe, tells THR in a statement that in interviews more than 80 witnesses, she found no credible support in claims for racial animus or racial insensitivity. A Warner spokesperson notes that the company made extraordinary effort to accommodate Mr. Fisher's concern about the investigations and to ensure its fullness and fairness, as its complete confidence in the investigation process and forced its conclusions.
It definitely sounds like it was written by a lawyer, but
yeah,
if Hollywood didn't find racism, there's probably none there.
Yeah. I will, just for Angel's Advocate purposes, it is a Warner conducted interview or conducted investigation. But I also, in the same way that I said the first statement about like this tweet can still be accurate, there's a way for that tweet to still be accurate, that there was a abusive shit that Joss Whedon did, but it wasn't necessarily racially insensitive. That does exist.
I don't doubt it for 1 second. I was a PA on a John Demme movie once when I was like young, and this second AD, she was one of the most abusive people I've ever worked for. She just was the second before I said or did anything, she just like snapping at me and yelling and super aggressive and super hostile. And you just have to listen to them because it's this weird political hierarchy, and you're lucky enough to be there, so you have to eat this shit. The idea that Joss Whedon is toxic, or even that Hollywood film sets are toxic, is like, yeah, it's Hollywood. I mean, I'm not saying it's right, but it's like, just frame it like that, and it can be true. I don't know.
Yeah, I really think that's, and after I read this, I have a tangent point of something. It has nothing to do with this, but something to do with this a little bit.
Cool.
Okay, to Fisher, who had a few screen credits playing the half man, half machine cyborg. The first black superhero in the DC film universe.
Oh God, get off! Right.
Was both a huge career break and a major responsibility. Justice League was released in 2017. Jesus, Marvel Blade existed. Blade came out in 98. It came out in 1998. It's like 20 some odd years ago. It was 20 years before 20. It was almost 20 years before 2017. It was 20 years before Black Panther. I'm not reading that next sentence. Fuck you, whoever wrote that. He was mindful in the film. I'm not reading that sentence. Fuck that sentence. Just not reading this shit. I'm not gonna read the super woke stuff because I can't handle it.
Well, the thing is, they try to make it like it's Jackie Robinson with like these racist dudes sliding with their spikes out. It's like, it's not that at all.
Yes, that is okay. Islington Girl, you're right. Blade is Marvel, but her next sentence was that Black Panther broke ground in 2018. Black Panther cannot have broken ground. That was the next sentence. So I'll go to it. That's why I freaked out. So I know you guys are saying
killers are still on the large. What is these?
Never find them. But the year before, Marvel broke ground with Black Panther. That was the sentence that I didn't read, but that was what freaked me out and made me set me off, because like, he could not have broken ground with black superhero movies, which is what the statement implies, if Blade did it 20 some odd years beforehand.
Yeah.
Lord. And then he says, while Fisher has dropped details and named names, no, he really hasn't. Outsiders have struggled to understand because he didn't say anything. How did Wheaton incur his anger? Did Fisher really decline to participate in an investigation, which was launched in his own complaints? As Warner's claimed in September, was Fisher fighting a righteous battle or a quixotic one, where he set out on a path that appears to cost him a place in the DC film universe? Even though I think that happened in the opposite order. I think he lost his spot, and that's what he said, fuck it, I don't have
anything to lose. Chaotic? Did they use the word chaotic?
Quixotic.
I think that's supposed to be like reference to Don Quixote, which is kind of a like the what's it, bending at windmills, like a fruitless task. And it's like, gee, all right. It's an article in the Hollywood Reporter. So tone it down.
Listen,
they're trying to be they're just trying to be overly intellectual. It's unnecessary. Shut up.
That's the name of the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's the name of the game. You know what? To be fair, this overly intellectual, like a lot of these articles are just so shittily written. This one's at least like readable, so I'll give them that.
Fair.
So they're decent at writing stuff. They would get a B on my 10th grade paper. So now, in many hours of conversation, Fisher tells his side much of his previous reluctance to spell out a story. Wait a second, hold on. I'm sorry. While Fisher, I'm going back to sentence. This is what he said in the first paragraph right before it. While Fisher has dropped details and names, outsiders struggle to understand. Next paragraph. Much of his previous reluctance to spell out the story. Motherfucker, pick one. I just gave you a compliment. You throw it right back in my face. You can pick one, and that's fine, but pick one. Oh, boy. I'm sorry, man. Just reading this, like, it's Hollywood.
Hey, 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser's here.
32 Flavors. And
he's lolling. Sorry, he's lolling at Cryborg. You're the first. I got that from you last night. I thought that was hilarious.
Like I said, I'm not going to call it Cryborg when reading this article. When I read through it right before this, I was just like, God, it's even hard to read live.
This is starting to sound like, this is just starting to sound like his people wrote it, and they're trying to, like leverage this as something, like kind of, how what was his name? Even though he's got a more legitimate gripe, the kid from the Star Wlike
John Boyega.
John Boyega, and he's at like the BLM rallies and being like a figure, for like a social rights just figure. So I think it's
social justice,
kind of a little bit of that.
Islington Girl brings up,
just
point.
trying
Morpheus
to be like one of these guys who.
Sorry, damn delay.
Well, the other thing too is like, I'm not a huge expert on like superhero movies, but in my mind, there was like the Superman movies, and then like Batman in the 90s.
Yeah.
But like what? And then a bunch of corny like TV shows like The Incredible Hulk or like the really bad Spider-Man. Like, was there just a flood of superhero movies that black people were being left out of? Like, I feel like it's a relatively new genre of movie.
It is. It's really the past 20 years that we've seen a bunch of them. Really after 2000s when we saw the most of them.
That's pretty much.
There might be 10
Spider-Man.
or 15 before 2000 max. And I don't know if it's 15. I would say closer to 10.
And I feel like most of them were probably jokes. Like most of them were probably like a laughable, oof, Batman too bad Forever. You had to do that movie kind of thing.
Superman 3, Superman 4, Batman Forever, Batman and Robin. You know what I mean? That's half of the superhero movies before 2000 is like stuff like that. So like,
that's all I can really. Yeah, like it's a kind of a newer thing that superhero movies are so popular. So while I'm not saying it's like, they should be happy with what they get, I'm just saying it. I just don't feel like it was that exclusive for that long to make it like this big deal that they keep emphasizing.
Yeah. I mean, because Batman is like the second, like the 80s Batman is like the second franchise period in superhero movies. But Black Man did exist. Black Man and Meteor Man, Godzilla, you're fucking right. There were black superheroes. They were low budget, but I remember Meteor Man and I remember Blank Man, and they did both predate even Blade. So Godzillionaire, thank you. But they were made by black people, so they don't count. Obviously, it only matters if white people are allies.
Well, I think it was when I was listening to Midnight's Edge, it was something that they were talking about, and it's kind of how they say this new generation doesn't want to acknowledge anything that came before so they can have like the big wins and they can fight against whatever tyranny or oppression they think is out there. I think they got that kind of right, but I also think it's got a lot to do with like the social Marxism of kind of eliminating everything that came before and starting fresh with all the right ideas kind of thing. So I think it's a little bit of column A and column B why they refuse to acknowledge the past as having anything positive in it whatsoever.
Yeah, and on the chat's tossing out dates. Yeah, Mystery Man. Kel was in Mystery Man. Animation has to not count. You're right, because they had the Super Friends. There was Black Lightning. So really, this is actually like the chat is kind of disproving this whole idea that even Blade broke ground, because there were superheroes that predate Blade. Blank Man and Meteor Man Blank Man especially is a comedy. Meteor Man, Spawn, Mystery Men. There's been a lot of superhero movies that included black and non-white characters, because that's all diversity is apparently. Most of this is
I'm trying to
probably by people. What are you about to say?
Yeah, probably by his publicist. Yeah, probably by his publicist. Is there any way, Vig, you can go back in the stream? Sorry, is there any way you can just go back in the chat? Because Jennifer Cisco sent me a $5 super sticker and I wanted to acknowledge it, but this computer is so shit. I can't even like flip between windows to try to find what the sticker was.
Okay. It is one of this like Sheena Ibu, I think is the name of the dog. He's in he's saying good job. He's saying good job. I don't know what he is. Is that like a kimono or just like a jacket? But he's telling us good job. So thank you, Jennifer Cisco. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jennifer Cisco. And I really hope it's not a kimono, because that's cultural appropriation and we just don't put up with that here at Foulball Productions.
We don't. And yeah, the chat.
Thank you very much, Jennifer Cisco. Thank you so much.
Yeah, there's so many movies that predate Black Panther. We can go. We can do this all day.
How come Hancock never gets mentioned?
Hancock was successful too.
Yeah. Is it because they're comedies?
Maybe.
Is that why?
Will Smith seems not to count, because he was like I remember him being the star of the 90s. Like
Tom from Midnight said. That was Tom's from Midnight. Tom's point today. He said, who was the biggest star in the 80s? And it was Eddie Murphy. And who was the biggest star in the 90s? It was Will Smith. And who's the biggest star now is The Rock. I was like, yeah. Those are all great points.
I mean, maybe the 80s, you could say Arnold, but like Eddie's top 3.
Sure.
Minimum. You know what I'm saying?
100%. Yeah.
And maybe in the 90s, you could say like Tom, but Will's top 3. Like these guys are no slower than 3. And Rock really was number 1 for a good 10 years. Like unquestioned is the number 1 guy, because they would just toss him in any fucking thing and it would make money.
Yeah, it's such an inconsistent narrative. I mean, you can do so much research and fact finding to prove how not true what their claims are, but they always just put it out there like it's indisputable, like it's inarguable.
Yeah, Brightest Day brings up another point. Fucking Luke Cage was in the MCU and it came out before Black Panther. It was a show.
Good point. Well, it wasn't a movie. Buckaroo Bezau keeps saying Avar, the first black Superman, 1977. I don't know what that's a reference to.
I do not know that. Buckaroo Bezau. And Slight as a movie I actually did see. It was a low budget movie. It was fine. It's fine. And Midnight's Edge brings up Steel, who I think they could reboot and redo, because I mean you can rehab. Sometimes when you have a bad character, they're like a fresh slate. But unfortunately,
I think Avar was a blaxploitation film.
Okay, yeah. I might check it out.
Well, it doesn't seem to be a particularly well received one. Anywho.
So, I'm going to read one or two more paragraphs because it brings up other people's names. And then, I mean, we know what the rest of this is, I'll be honest. Because it just goes on with this shit. Now, many hours of conversation, Fisher tells his side. Again, much of his previous reluctance to spell out the story, he says, arose because he didn't and still doesn't want to expose the identities of others who shared their stories with him and investigators. I'm not looking to have witnesses lose any jobs. Here we go with another inconsistency. Remember the sentence I just said. Okay. Those include some who wouldn't seem to have any worries about job security, like Gal Gadot or Jason Momoa. So He doesn't want to expose any identities, but Jason Momoa and Gal Gadot has similar issues. Please pick one. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm begging. I'm begging you to just stop with the inconsistency. Others who were not involved.
And he's reluctant to do that. He doesn't seem very reluctant to me at all.
No. How reluctant are you if that's the next? I know it's the writer who did it, but how much reluctance does he have if the next paragraph is naming names? Like, come on, man.
I don't know. He's stampeding towards the press with this one. They didn't have to investigate, and he reluctantly revealed. He's just like, hey, this is what happened. This is what I think.
Your publicist is writing this, dude.
Honestly, yeah. Like, your whole team is supportive of this, and they all called you in the morning. We're like, it's going to do great things for us. Fucking bullshit. Disease with a $2 super chat that says generic chat message goes here.
We appreciate
sure
you,
does, my friend. Sure does. Thank you, brother. I don't know if that's on the screen or not. I'm fine. Yeah, there we go. I'm behind everybody. I apologize. This will probably be the last stream where we have to deal with this crappy Chromebook. So
hey, no worries.
Bear with me.
Dolomite is the original superhero, says Tom.
Dolomite, fight me.
Fight me. Just fight me. You know who would actually have a little competition? Shaft. Shaft was basically the Black James Bond. 100%. And he was a well-received superhero. Or not hero, but like heroic. I consider, huge, impactful character over the course of decades, really, because you had the whole 70s and they rebooted it with Samuel Jackson later. So,
and I watched that as a kid. Like, I watched Shaft as a kid, like, and I didn't think, oh, this is a black movie, or it's like, it didn't occur to me. Just like it didn't occur to me when I watched Blade.
Yeah.
Just like it didn't occur to me that it was a female in Underworld. It's like these things are only important to these people who want to make such a big deal about it. We'll like it or we won't. It's the idea that this narrative that the audience needs to be re-educated with all of their great ideas. It's like, we're ahead of you. We're already cool with all this shit. You're the one that's hung up on it. Yeah.
And the chat is making me want to re-see Meteor, man. I forgot how many people were in that movie. Like James Earl Jones, Don Cheadle, Eddie Griffin. I haven't seen Meteor, man, since I was a kid. It might be one to check out.
Perhaps.
But this article, again, it's like I said, I don't want to call the guy Cryborg because I understand having a beef. And I don't want to defend fucking Warner even a little bit. They just piss in our faces, and they still are the cause of all this shit. But I could go this much reading this shit, and my God. I don't know. It's just, and it's. I pause at a random spot. Fisher says the assertion of a black man would not have his own agency is just as racist as the conversation that Warner was having about Justice League reshoots. And then I could keep going and just pick another random sentence. Fisher got a call from Berg, said the actor had an appalling experience, acknowledging that a bunch of straight white men, and I could go further and just pick a random sentence. And you know what I mean? Like, I can do this all day long, literally. Like, that's the article. It's a manifesto. And I mean, I'm literally picking random sentences that are woke.
Dude, Ray Fisher is like, he's built like a god. He looks like he's like 6'3", 250, all muscle. Would you sack the fuck up, bro? Like, would you stop acting like a little bitch, please?
There's another way of handling this. Like, you're in the right, dude. Like, there's another way of handling this. This isn't it, man.
No.
Jesus. So
pussy.
That's what I keep thinking when I read this. It's like, I think the reason there's so many people critical is like, dude, it's hard to respect you reading this shit. It's really hard. I'm going to give an example of, I'm really a lapsed wrestling fan, and I haven't watched since the lockdown, since the pandemic plan. Well, I ain't gonna say that. Pandemic started. I haven't really watched wrestling. It really started almost a year beforehand because it started to get worse. And since the pandemic, there's this group called the Hurt Business, all black group. And the only thing I know, because this is WrestleMania week, is they just got broken up and people are pissed. This in wrestling fans, for the most part. Not that there are not a ton of black fans, a ton of fans of other different demographics. They're mostly rural white people. Yet they're defending this group being broke. They don't want to see this group go away. They don't want them to go away. They're out. There was no. They're the ones bringing up race. The fans, not the performers. They're just silent. They're just going about it, doing what they want to do, doing what they're supposed to do. And the fans themselves are stepping up and saying, hey, this doesn't look right. This is wrong. We don't want to see this group go away. We like this group. Based upon the merit of what they did, I think had Ray Fisher said nothing, went behind the scenes, tried to handle it however he wanted to handle it with lawyers, and it didn't work out, I think just the Justice League Snyder Cut, especially with how well it's received, he would have had more support just off the strength of that. Just off the strength of what he did.
Like, I know it's like a weird example, but if he did something like go on like Uche's stream and like talk about it like a dude, man to man, he'd have so much more support. People would be into it because there were a lot of people like who were looking at this Snyder Cut being like, damn, dude had a point. Like, he was that's eviscerated. Yeah, you were saying it. And I thought it too. I was like, wow, like he got like ripped out of this movie. And it's almost his movie. And it's like, yeah, I could see you having an issue with that. But then him doubling down and coming across so soft and fragile. It's like, bro, you could throw Joss Whedon like a javelin. You're taking shit off of him. Like, I don't understand. You just come across so soft. And it's like, it's hard to care when you're just whining and whining, man. It's like, all right, okay, whatever.
Yeah. And somebody, Islington Girl said, and I said it earlier, his original valid complaint was briefly encapsulated in a tweet. Little ironic. Had he just sent this tweet, said nothing since, his performance would have vindicated him, and everything that came out would have vindicated him. But that's not,
and the fans would have been behind him. Like Gina never went to any kind of outlet and was like, "Hey guys, please defend me. Like I need help." We came to her aid the second it went down because we believed in her, and once we saw her gotten screwed over, we were there for her because she didn't handle it like a little bitch.
Yes. God, this art. I mean, and if his publicist didn't write it, whoever wrote it just really made him come off like a bitch. There's no other words for it. I'm not gonna call him Cryborg. I'm not saying he is a bitch. I don't think he is. I think he's a dude who had a point and it got lost in the sauce of being like a woke Hollywood actor in 2020 going on 2021. And
yeah, it's just another example of someone not having like the base to stand up to speak for themselves, you know. Just like what's Zack Snyder did doing the Geeks and Gamers stream, like just needing someone to tell him what to say and how to say it, like not being confident enough in your own words to just say it and not have like a team guiding you and like people like just you know, actors, and I speak as one of you, just stick to the words that are written for you and shut the fuck up.
He said it, not me. You're not interesting. I don't like what you say. Like, talk on craft, fine. Filming, great. Anything else, we don't need it. We don't need it. Yeah.
Maybe we can move on to some good news because I didn't see this, but I heard about it on Midnight's Edge. But I guess there's some new Ghostbusters clips out there.
Oh, are there? Did you want me to look for them?
I would love for that to happen.
All righty, let's do it.
That would be rad. Yeah, I'm curious. It's interesting. All I know is that it's of Stay Puft Marshmallows, Stay Puft Marshmallow Mans, which to me kind of is like fan service. It's like, you know, remember the chess from the Millennium Falcon from A New Hope? Yeah. Like, yes, I do. You know, remember the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man? Like, yeah, I do. It's one of my favorite movies. Of course, I remember that. Because
I have a thing about this Ghostbusters 3, man. I don't know that it should still be made. Like, I don't know. Okay, Ghostbusters 2016 was a disaster. Cool.
Yeah.
I don't know that we need to like try again. I know that this will be not woke, but like that doesn't mean it's gonna be good. Doesn't mean
It
it's not going
doesn't
to
mean that it doesn't, but to me, it's not like precious. It's not the kind of thing that you couldn't toy with, you couldn't have some fun with and try different expressions, like putting out a new Ghostbusters video game or another animated series or something. Like none of that to me would feel exploitative or just like gross or opportunistic. It's like I like
I'm not
Ghostbusters.
even. Go ahead.
No,
I'll cut you
I
off.
think there's enough there that you can get into it, but that's just my opinion.
I guess I'm of the. Maybe it's just where I'm at with Hollywood is like I don't want you to try or do shit. I don't want you to do shit. I don't want you to do anything. Just don't touch it.
Sentient Dildo agrees with you. He says, "Hands up, don't reboot."
Yes, yes, that's exactly what I feel like. No reboots, no peace. Like just like stop.
That's hilarious.
Yeesh. Like, okay, I'm about to try. The sun is gone.
Yeah.
I wasn't on camera because of the sun, so here I am, and I'm still.
We're never going to live in a world. We're never going to really live in a world where all the properties are original. I mean, that's just not going to happen. Like having a built-in audience is too intrinsic with Hollywood now. I can't expect that or even ask that of them. I would just say, try your best to do it right and don't try to appease anyone except for the people who are already fans. That's all.
Yeah. Because remember, all these properties were like mainstream at one point. All of them.
Yeah.
All of these properties got normies of the era to go watch.
Yeah. It's all. The only reason it doesn't work is it's always serving that agenda. I mean, these are rarely just inept swings where you're like, oh, they just got it wrong. That wasn't interesting. It's always like you had to intersectionalize it or you had to tokenize it or you had to do whatever you thought you had to do to rewrite the fabric of society. And it's always
modernize it for these times. We need a Ghostbusters for these times. We need Ghostbusters for these times.
We need to have a conversation about the lack of diversity. Yeah.
In a post-Trump world, we need more diversity and inclusion at these times. In these times. It's like with all that's been going on.
Factory that comes up with that shit. With all we've been through.
With all we've all been through. In these times. So yeah, I got it queued up if you want to share it. All right. This is my first time hearing it, so let's see it together.
Can you hold on just 1 second for the slowpoke here? Okay.
No worries.
Oh, I'm ready.
All right. You say you ready?
Oh, it's Paul Rudd. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Jamocha.
Okay.
Strawberry, red velvet, blue velvet.
Holy shit. Oh, wow. They're just murdering themselves. All right, it's going there. Stop.
Oh, that's it, huh?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh.
Is there more?
That wasn't a lot.
I
don't know.
Chat, are there more clips or is that the only one? I mean, it's fine.
That's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. It's adequate.
It's just that, okay.
Not offensive. Not
no, and also maybe doesn't matter. Like maybe isn't like the idea that it's Stay Puft Marshmallow doesn't mean anything really. That could not even be in the movie.
Yeah. It almost seems like it's not like that's just a teaser to like, hey, we're back. We have Paul Rudd this time.
That doesn't bother me at all. That's actually that was fun.
Neither. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, it's fine.
Check out the cereal. So, was there something like an Easter egg? I went out of it.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's a movie. I bet.
Okay, I thought there'd be more to talk about there. That's just kind of like okay,
Yeah,
paranormal stuff. It was funny.
yeah. It just I mean, I'm so out with Hollywood and reboots. I'm
Mhm.
hoping this is good. It'll probably be better than Ghostbusters 2016. I don't know what that's worth. You know what I mean?
The
Seriously.
Islington Girl says if Paul Rudd tries to reinvent Venkman, I'm not here for it.
Yeah.
I think that kind of is reflecting your sentiment. It's like, you know, you don't necessarily need to dig up every grave.
And you know another thing with Ghostbusters, that's a fan base. Like there are people who don't even think Ghostbusters 2 should exist. Like it should have just been one movie and that's it.
That's how people feel about Godfather. Some people think there shouldn't even have been a Godfather 2.
Yeah. I'm kind of, I like Godfather 2. I'm kind of in that boat.
Look, my opinion is that, like I said, you can make it kind of interesting. There's possibilities that it could be good. I don't think it's that sacred that you shouldn't touch it. Because it's kind of just a silly concept. I mean, it's fun. They're fighting ghosts. It's not.
Yeah.
It's really good. I don't think it's generation defining. And I think you could play with that idea in a lot of different ways. It's just that they seem like they just don't know what they're doing. Because they feel like, to me, they feel bound. Like they don't want to offend like the wokies. So that's why they intersectionalize the whole thing. But then they're so terrified that the fans are going to be upset that they just make the safest, most obvious choice for the fans. So it seems like they can't take any swings.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. And that's there. I think kind of have themselves like in a corner in that way, because at least they're starting to know that fans disagree with them, and they are starting to at least account for that in some way, shape, or form. Even if sometimes it's to piss in our face, but they at least are starting to realize, hey, there's a group of people who don't want this shit. And I talked about a few weeks ago. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I think there's part of the people that like over at Disney and Lucasfilm that thought that bringing back Palpatine was something that the original fans would have enjoyed.
I agree with that.
Like they're like, hey, from the old ones, remember? Like, I think they thought, like, even though they knew it would serve their interest to wipe out the canon of the originals, I still think they thought we would like it because it was just simply because it was from the originals. Like, that's the thing. Like, they don't honestly respect us. Like, they don't honestly respect our ability to assess things and enjoy them. They're just like, oh, this is from the original. These idiots will like it. I honestly think that's as far as they get through.
Agreed. Because if you would have thought it through, you would have realized bringing Palpatine actually ruins the originals.
Or you'd realize you're just a dumb fuck executive and you know numbers and you don't know anything about making movies, so leave it to the creatives, you arrogant piece of shit. Or something like that.
Yeah. Islington Girl brings up a good point. This is going to sound horrible, I know, but part of what made Ghostbusters great was that it was raunchy. And then she goes on to say they weren't really cracking safe jokes. A lot of humor is problematic today. You're not supposed to say that.
It's a very good point. That's true.
That might, even if to just bring it to a modern era, just some of that sanitization may lose. Some of the humor may be gone. That's to me, that's what Ghostbusters.
Yeah, because it's the sense of humor is very male, and that's unacceptable today. That's like not allowed.
Yeah. Speaking of toxic males, did you want to talk about the which I find hilarious, this Jordan Peterson thing? I went ahead and pulled it up. I didn't share it, but I can.
Yeah.
Oh no, it is shared.
Let's do it. Yeah, I can pull that up. I think I'm roboting a little bit. I keep getting that symbol, so I apologize to everyone if it sounds like shit. I kind of stuck with the situation right now.
This is the most hilarious thing. This is like peak. Like, this is, to me, like, I can't imagine there's a normie on Earth who knows who Ta-Nehisi Coates is. There may be a few who know who Jordan Peterson is. I feel like a few would. But even then, I don't think, like, I think of normies, I think of the office I work with. but this is still
I
hilarious.
feel
to me.
like JP's probably got more normie acknowledgement because he was on Joe Rogan so many times.
Yeah,
And that,
that's
that's a huge audience. So I feel like that probably has put him in center stage for a lot of people.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that's what made
Plus,
him a target for Ta-Nehisi Coates.
100%. And resistance to the propaganda machine isn't just a like comic book nerd like thing. I think most people don't like it. There's varying degrees of how knowledgeable you are about it, how sensitive you are to it. But I think, there's a lot of people that are, if you're not in the cult, I would say maybe not the majority, but like 50% of the rest of people are not into it. So it's like, if you find someone who's fighting the cult so articulately, you're going to get to know who that is. You're going to find that person interesting.
Yeah. Real quick, it looks like Buckaroo Baizu is leaving. Have a good night,
take it
man.
easy, brother.
Yeah.
Thanks for stopping in, man.
Tom, you said something about the deal. I had to check it because I don't want to screw up the screen thing. And you said that the PG Ghostbusters was PG, but PG-13 I don't think even existed then. But that's neither here nor there. Back to this.
Midnight's Edge he's saying that. He's saying Gremlins and Temple of Doom came out the same year and were responsible for the PG-13. Okay, so that makes more sense.
I did not know that. So thanks for that.
Maybe they didn't coddle kids as much back then, too. Maybe they were just parental guidance and nothing's going to happen if you see this fucking movie about ghosts. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
I remember Batman animated series, which was geared towards kids talking about crack houses. So, I think we just didn't coddle kids to the extent that we do now. I think that has a lot to do with it.
To the degree. No.
Yeah.
No.
But
I know when I was a kid, my mom didn't want me watching the Ghostbusters show for whatever reason.
Really?
Yeah, I think she just had the wrong impression. She was just being a mom. But I used to watch it, and I felt like I was rebelling. So it was a real win when I would watch the Ghostbusters. Like, got one over on your mom.
So now I'm looking. What Tom sent is he sent there's a cereal box with the Stay Puft. Oh, that's how I got spoiled. So there's a cereal box
commercial. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, that's the thing. I was wondering what he was talking about. Okay. Trying to bring it up with the browser situation I have would probably be a disaster and dox myself. So I'm not gonna fuck with that. But back to Jordan Peters, Ta-Nehisi Coates. Of course, Ta-Nehisi Coates writes a comic book in which the Red Skull is Jordan Peterson. Like that. After that sentence is said, it's almost as if it had already happened before this. Like, duh. Like, if you don't know who Ta-Nehisi Coates is, you're not alone. No one knows.
Lucky for you. Congratulations. Go on living your life happily.
Yes. And I'm sorry to bring this guy to your attention. Like, he's a guy who's figured a way to grift white guilt.
He's straight up racist though. Like he's not like towing the line where you're like, okay, if I broke that down, I could get into why that's fucked up. He's just straight up says fucked up things where you're like, how, if this guy was saying that about anyone else, even as a black guy, I think if he said that about Asians, he'd be fucked.
Yes, I agree. I agree with that. I actually covered that in one of my non-short shorts about the whole black Asian thing. But if he said that, if he was a black guy even saying this about black people, I think he'd be canceled because they don't want you to.
Yeah, you're right. Probably.
He just happens to be the specific demographic that, because I the fact that he's allowed to say what he said about 9/11, I'm not a cancel culture guy, but I just can't believe he's the guy that you would have write Superman. Like, I just can't believe that at all. And I don't like.
It's also like there's something going on too, because he was mentioned in that Invincible show recently, right?
Really?
Yeah. So it's honestly, it's a pretty good show. It goes back and forth, and I covered it the other Monday, and I says it's probably going to go woke, but it's enjoyable right now. but the main character he's straight, shockingly, but he's into this girl, and she's this black girl, and his gay best friend is giving him pointers on who she is and what she likes, and she's into fourth wave feminism and with this guy Coates, Tanashi, whatever his name is, Ta-Nehisi Coates, and just casually, like, that's what makes her like interesting and deep. And they just kind of dropped it like it was nothing. And now this story is coming out. Like, I feel like there's some kind of PR campaign around this guy right now.
Well, I think there's been a PR campaign around him for quite a while, to be honest. So I can definitely agree with that. I mean, yeah, if you add that to the fact that he's writing Superman and this comes out, and this was not written yesterday. They wrote this a few months down the line, or a few months ago, whenever it was written.
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely possible for this to be a little bit of coordination with that, because I think I did hear that now that you mentioned it about he was mentioning Invincible, but like he wasn't somebody that was world renowned, at least to my knowledge. I mean, I did see one debate with him about reparations, like from 2017, and then I know he's been writing. He wrote some of he wrote for Black Panther and Captain America. I don't know why activists want to work in Hollywood. Who knows? Maybe it's propaganda for kids. But he wrote for those two comic books, but he's not really good or like noteworthy. But his
I didn't even know.
Yeah.
I didn't even know he was until he got the Superman job. I'd never heard of him before.
I'd only heard of him in the context of writing bad comics, and then knowing that he was a slacktivist before that. And then I'd like come across him. I just think it's so like apt to like want Jordan Peterson to be the Red Skull. And I just think it's hilarious. Like, this is the way, like, nobody even reads comics. This is not for the readers of Captain America. This is not like some interesting thing that's going to make them happy. Maybe 20,000 people max. That's me being max. And if Nick Wise is in here, he could probably give me more accurate numbers how much Captain America sells. This is for The Guardian. This is for all the other little magazines to go, tee-hee-hee, look, we're making fun of you, Jordan Peterson. And then try to gaslight him like, oh, what do you mean the similarity? They fucking put his fucking book. It was 12 Rules for Life, the 10 Rules for Life, the Feminist Trap. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what? Yeah, you're right.
He was probably annoyed when it didn't make a viral press sensation a few weeks ago when it came out.
Oh, did it come out a few weeks ago?
I think this is an old story. Like, just some guy on his videos said that this was old, and he saw it and he didn't even want to report on it, and then it came up because Jordan Peterson tweeted something about it.
He sure did. Yeah, Jordan he got made aware of it and was like, what the fuck? But you're right. He did say it was though. I wonder if we were supposed to catch it before Jordan Peterson did. Like, I wonder what would have happened.
You're saying, like, I agree with you. I think it's probably just for the press junket for him to, say something controversial to get some ink, and then they can all, talk about this and upset get all these angry straight white males all triggered and see, we told you, that kind of shit.
Yeah. But some of the counter arguments, like I said, like they're gaslighting, like, oh, why are you reading into this? Somebody also made the argument, River pointed this out, like, well, he shouldn't share things with the ideology of a Yahtzee, like Red Skull. And I'm thinking, like, they just wrote it, motherfucker. This is not something that Red Skull came out with. It is just part of his personality, and then it just happened to be with Jordan Peterson.
Right?
It's like they did it on purpose.
100%. It was like, I was listening to Gary earlier on the Nooner, and he was saying about how Eccleston was saying about Doctor Who, how he's like, oh, it was revealed that guy, whatever his name was, wasn't the first Doctor. It's like, it wasn't revealed. That's a retcon. That's what that's called. You went back and changed the continuity as a retroactive continuity. That's not we didn't learn this. Just like it's like, oh, well, he shouldn't say things that Red Skull says. Like, he didn't say things Red Skull says. He said things. Then they made Red Skull say the things that Peterson said. That's what that is.
Yeah.
Like, stop trying to like validate this. Like it's so much just like echo chamber stuff, self-validation, like, oh well, we told it's like people are saying, like, no, people are not saying, you're fucking saying, you're saying.
Yeah. And when I read this, I'm like, what is he saying? Like they're almost gonna make Red Skull like a sympathetic figure. He's looking to radicalize young men by telling them what they always wanted to hear, that they're secretly great and that the whole world is against them, that if they're men and they'll fight back. Well, I want to find Red Skull's YouTube channel, man. I need to sub to him. Need to sub to the Red Skull. And hopefully I can do a stream with him. It sounds like, what's wrong with telling men that they're great? What's wrong with what's wrong with men having confidence at all? Can someone explain that to me?
Dude, but the idea that someone as woke as Ta-Nehisi Coates would say, oh yeah, the bad guys tell everyone they're secretly great, when like their whole worldview is like, you're perfect, it's the world that's broken and you need to fix the world.
Yes. And then somebody else has that in the opposite. Well, but he disagrees with me, so he must be a Yahtzee. I did not see that coming. Yeah, it says that's their purpose. That's what they'll live for, and that's what they'll die for. So I guess
it is hilarious. You're right. It's hilarious, is what it is.
It's so absurd. It's like, how could this? Like, of course it happens. And this is Peterson's tweet. He says, do I really live in a universe? I need to read like him. He sounds like Kermit. Do I really? I can't do it. I'm going to try it. Do I really live in a universe where Ta-Nehisi Coates? Yeah, I'm just making fun of him. I'm just doing a generic, like, Dave Chappelle voice.
He kind of, I can't really do it either, but he kind of
is really Kermit. Canadian Kermit. I can't do it. Yeah. He has written a comic, Captain America comic, featuring a parody of my ideas as part of the arch villain Red Skull. Yes, we all live in that universe, Mr. Peterson. And I'm not even a diehard Jordan Peterson guy. I just think this is like so ridiculous, and just like the idea that they would like do this. Like, are they going to continue to add right wing characteristics to villains? And you know what, will they go deep enough that like somebody we know will be Doom? You know, will Doomcock be Dr. Doom? Would Dr. Doom say, without respect we reject? Like, does it go that far?
The thing is though, like, this is why they're so stupid. Like, Jordan Peterson's not a right-wing guy.
No,
it's not. He's not a political pundit. He's not like one of these. He's not like a Tucker Carlson or something like that, where you'd be like, okay, at least, you know, in your worldview, that makes sense. Like, he's such an intelligent guy. He just can eviscerate the propaganda. Like, that's why they expose themselves by being such hacks by, well, we'll just make it 10 rules for life. It's like, that's not writing, man. Like, you just are like, yeah, it's Jordan Peterson. It's like, what's the profound depth there that you're trying to get across? Like, what's the insight into life you're trying to convey to the audience? You're just like, I don't like him. He's bad. He's Nazi. Like, oh.
I think you had it right. I think this is promotion. It's like, hey, if I say something about Jordan Peterson, I got the Superman thing coming up, plus this Invincible name drop. I can line everything up so everyone's talking about me, and I can get more jobs from this. And yeah, Black Power, yeah. But yeah, I think this is just publicity. This is just Ta-Nehisi Coates doing I almost have to give him credit as a heel. Like, this is a great heel job. It's a great troll. It's not good writing, and no one's going to buy the comic. But it's a solid troll to get attention, which is the whole point. The whole point was to get attention. So Ta-Nehisi Coates' name rings bells, and then when he writes Superman, it's like Ta-Nehisi Coates. Remember this guy? He called. Yeah.
Sorry, Midnight Edge is leaving. Tom's leaving.
Oh man. Hell, Midnight
Edge.
Hell, Tom. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate the DM. Thank you, Tom, man. Yeah. Shout out to Midnight Edge. I'm sure you all are sub to Midnight Edge or Midnight Edge After Dark, but if you're not sub to both channels, please sub.
Do it. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to show respect to the legend. Yeah.
Shout out to Tom. But yeah, the whole point of this was just for publicity, I think, because I don't see. I mean, that's why they picked Jordan Peterson. He's kind of he's you know what, of culture war pundits, he is on the mainstream level. Like
I
outside
agree.
of maybe Rogan.
Yep.
But I don't
And
know if he's
Rogan's
really
not.
involved.
Yeah, like I wouldn't say Rogan's like. I mean, he has those guys on there, so he exposes them to a big audience, which is great because that's how I found. That's how I found Peterson. That's how I found a bunch of these guys. But I don't know. I mean, Rogan goes after some stuff. It's not really his thing, though. He doesn't really assert his own point of view. He kind of just lets other people assert theirs.
Yeah, which is honestly, as a host, is kind of his job to kind of just bring people to the forefront, ask probing questions, and just kind of let it be.
This is true.
But I mean, yeah, I think they just picked the name out of a hat. Like, okay, who's a good culture war participant? Maybe Candace Owens will be a villain in the next one. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
You know, to show diversity, because they haven't done the shaming black people for not thinking how they want to think angle yet. So they got to get to that at some point. Maybe, they'll pick a different pundit. Maybe they will pick Tucker, and he could be who's a villain? Can't think.
U.S. Dutch Kitty says, she says, if anything, this will get people to buy Peterson's book. I would love to see if this drives sales. That would be awesome.
Yeah. I would love to also see. I think the Red Skull is now going to be like a character. Like they've accidentally made him more popular because now he's going to be associated with Jordan Peterson in the positive. I joked about wanting to see the Red Skull's YouTube channel. I can only imagine the memes, the Jordan Peterson Red Skull memes that are coming.
Sentient dildo. Rogan usually has a point of view of whoever is the guest that day.
Oh yeah, he does.
Kind of
he does. There's a supercut because he's been pretty negative about wrestling and talk shit about because he's an MMA guy. That's fine. But then he had the Undertaker on. He was just sucking his dick. It's like, dude, you've been shitting on wrestling for like 15 years. You kind of seem like a bitch.
Yeah.
That's neither here.
Whenever he has like conservatives on, like he has like Shapiro on, he's kind of like sympathetic to a lot of things he's saying. Not everything, but a lot of it. And then like he'll have like a left wing guy on, and he's just very sympathetic to everything he's saying. I'm like, well, which one is it, Joe? I don't understand.
Yeah.
But
yeah. And Red Skull is in it. Shout out to Red Skull.
He's here. Oh no. Oh no. He's going to tell us to clean our room and to think positively about ourselves. What a monster.
Yeah. And I do want to sub to your channel, Red Skull. I think you have things to say. Ta-Nehisi Coates loves your work. He loves your work.
Ta-Nehisi Coates thinks helping guys with addiction and increasing their self-respect is the same as a genocide.
That's another thing. What does Jordan Peterson say? Like, okay, this isn't racial, but that's usually Coates' angle. He's not said anything. Has he done anything that's racial, to my knowledge? Does he even have a racial take?
Not that I've ever heard.
If he does, let us know, chat. But like, I don't even think he didn't.
Well, he got famous because of the trans thing.
Yeah, there was
like
trans
the compelled speech with the trans thing. He didn't.
Yeah,
that was I've never heard him say anything racial, as far as I know. I mean, I think a lot of it just kind of gets lumped in together, and he's anti the cathedral anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe that's I don't know, but it's like if you read those 12 rules, like as from Heels vs. Babyface did that on his video about it. Like if you read those 12 rules, like they're the most benign, like just self-care, like try to be a better person rules. Like none of them are like join the Klan and beat up a gay guy. Like they're just like care for yourself and be a better person. And he's like, dude, that guy's such a Nazi.
He's a Red Skull.
What?
It's like
clearly
ridiculous.
Anyone who tells anyone to clean their room, we know what he means by clean their room. That's a dog whistle for racism.
Don't give them ideas. I can see how they could spin that one.
Oh, I'd love to see them try. Yeah. I think it's best when they try, when they really reach. They're so pathetic. Like the rewriting Ripley article, and that one author tweets, "I've been doxxed." It's like, no, you've been exposed. It's not the same thing. No one gave your social security number and your home address. Yeah. We just proved you're a public person hiding behind a fake persona. That's all that happened. You didn't get doxxed. Grow up.
Yeah. Yeah. you could always just not spend. I talked about propaganda with that Ray Fisher article. That rewriting Ripley article is like the Iliad of propaganda. It is probably all fucking seriously. It's probably all AI generated. There are fucking pictures and pictograms that mean nothing. It is just. It could have been written in shit. Like it's just complete nonsense and gibberish.
I think Gary's right. It's just to associate his name with, whatever negative moniker when you Google him. I really think that's it.
Yeah.
You know what? I might have been wrong. Because we were saying how Red Skull is a negative feat, oh fuck, where is it? Ah shit. Okay, here we go. We were saying Red Skull, Jordan Peterson is not a bad guy, because it's just clean your room. And so I could be wrong, because here's actually some of his nefarious thoughts. Get your butt up and do something productive today. If that doesn't sound like a white supremacist, I don't know what does. So I apologize. I retract my statements. I do think Red Skull is on par with Jordan Peterson, who's clearly a monster. So my mistake.
A disgusting monster. How dare he ask that people do something for themselves?
I don't know. It hurts. It hurts to even read it. It cuts like a knife.
The state is supposed to do everything for us. All hail the state.
All hail the state.
all hell responsibility is someone else's job, not ours.
Yes.
How dare you try to make me take responsibility for myself, you fucking bigot.
What are you you fucking bigot. You asked me to clean my room. Clearly you hate black people.
You clearly hate all people.
All people. You're a monster.
He needs to be stopped.
Yeah.
He's a monster. Thank goodness we have Ta-Nehisi Coates, who's not concerned with publicity or getting a better job at a better company at all. It has nothing to do with why he would pick Jordan Peterson out of a hat and make him into a villain.
No, it's true. And the real grifters are geeks and gamers. Those are the real liars in this whole situation, not the people who say the most egregious things just to get work in this dead industry. Yeah. Started poop his Q bar. All hail my free stuff. That's funny.
Basically. And it adds, geez. Coates run, his is his credentials, because he's a credentialed award-winning author. Coates won a National Book Award for Between the World and Me, an examination of America's fraught racial history, and was awarded a MacArthur Genius Grant in 2015. Oof. He was also written for the Black Panther comic series and is writing a forthcoming Superman film. So he's a genius. Ta-Nehisi Coates. He's been the MacArthur Grant called him a genius. Therefore, he's a genius. Don't be a bigot, Matt. Sound mighty all right.
I take it back. It's good to know that almost anyone can become a genius, though. That's encouraging.
There you go.
Because if the bar is that low, then I could do it. You could do it. Everyone in the chat could do it.
The right people.
The gardeners outside could do it. I think a couple of the homeless bums that are over in Austin, they could do it. That's pretty good to know. Anyone could be a genius. Fucking assholes.
Yeah, all you have to do is hate the right people.
That's right.
And be pretentious enough. Write a book. You can AI generate it. It doesn't have to make sense. No one reads the shit. Just write a book. Give it a cute ass title, and just talk about how impressed you are. And you too can get a MacArthur Grant.
You know what? Ta-Nehisi Coates is right, because Sentient Dildo just said "Hail Red Skull." So you know what? I forgot. I didn't. This community is toxic.
Toxic.
It is full of hateful people. No, Red Skull's actually on his way out.
Oh man, damn it, Red Skull! Off to spread toxicity to the next channel. Please.
Yeah, exactly. To go lead the revolution of men taking care of themselves. You monster.
How dare you men have self-esteem?
Yeah, good riddance. Good riddance. Good to see you, Red Skull.
Yeah, appreciate it. But yeah, I guess everyone needs to join. I guess anybody who wants to take responsibility for themselves should just join Hydra now.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. That's clearly, all those are all dog whistles. We know that.
Obviously. Thank goodness for Ta-Nehisi Coates.
Is there anything else about this fucking story? Because it's like it's one of these things that like you talk about it and then you're like almost immediately exhausted and disgusted with the topic.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's just I find it absurd and ridiculous, but there's nothing to it. It's exactly what it looks to be. It's just a play for attention. And it wouldn't have got attention if no one if Jordan Peterson didn't know about this. If no one would tweet to him, it would have just came and went, and they would have missed. They would have been probably pissed.
Yeah, because I would think
that was the whole point. So it almost wonders if it almost begs the question if we should start ignoring shit, because this was just for attention.
Well, that was just some guy's point of view. He said he saw it and he just moved on. He didn't even bother. He knew what it was and he just moved on.
And I think in general that may be the play for a lot of stuff like this, because it's just a mess. Just a mess. Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing else to say about this.
Yeah, no, I can't. It's just such an asinine, childish thing to do. And it's still that whole thing where like I don't know who they think reads comic books.
That's a very good question.
You know, like he's there to like help young men, kind of. Jordan Peterson is to like kind of help. I mean, I didn't read his whole book, but I read a bunch of it, and I've listened to his interviews, and like he's ultimately a helpful guy. Like he's not a divisive guy. Like he fights propaganda, but you know, when it comes to the 12 rules for life, it's like none of those are divisive. Those are all just about, you know, like having self-respect, having like self-reliance and improving yourself, not going to extreme behaviors that are, you know, easy, and like really about responsibility. Ultimately, it's contributing to a better society.
Agreed.
You know, so it's like the idea that to make like him some kind of villain, it's I don't know. I lost my point there. It was going to be really good. It was a banger. Everyone just pretend it was a really good point. Okay.
It was a banger. Maybe it was just the idea of just having somebody who's trying to improve people being a villain is a little bit, you know, off or sick or fucked up, or insert whatever phrase.
Oh, I remember. It's like the people who read comic books would identify with Jordan Peterson's message for the most part, because it's like that's the target audience for most comic books is like, you know, white dudes and like just dudes in general. And it's why would you, who do you think is this? I don't understand who they think is like, yes, great point. More of that, please. I want more of these
themselves,
books.
Fart sniffers. You know what I mean? That's the whole point. It's to be in their own cult, and everybody in that echo chamber agrees. Yeah. You know, the whisper networks and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
That's who it agrees with. And actually, you know what? This kind of brings me to a point that I didn't talk about. I kind of want to talk about. I brought up wrestling the other day and how I haven't really watched in the past year.
Sure.
And there's a parallel for what not to do when opposing these things, and it's basically not living long enough to become the villain. Go ahead.
Before you do, the chat's like, great point, Matt. Spot on.
Yes.
Sentient Dildo goes, we usually do, Matt. We usually pretend it's a good point.
Oh, Sentient Dildo. You're just brutal. We love you, man.
Love you.
You're a brutal dildo. Wait. Oh, that's already said. It's already been said. Can't unsay it.
All right. So sorry, man. The pro wrestling.
Yeah, wrestling. So there's this, and I gotta try to explain this so people who don't understand wrestling can still get it. But basically, most people, when they think of wrestling, think of WWF, not even WWE, which is what they're called now. But then, you know, over the past couple of years, there's a new organization that came up, and they were supposed to be the opposite. They were supposed to be everything WWE wasn't. They were supposed to listen to the fans. They were supposed to be. It was almost similar to if the Fandom Menace had a coked up billionaire that was willing to buy a federation. I'm not saying that Tony Khan's on coke, but I'm saying there's a chance. Because the guy, if you see him, he's spaced out. But that's neither here nor there. The point is they started off trying to be the good guys, trying to create a product, and they've become just another group. And the main thing that's like interesting is the fact that they now have their own echo chamber, which seems impenetrable, basically. So because now there's media, because they're linked to TNT, they now have major media on their side because do Bleacher Report. So they now can insulate themselves from any criticism, and then now they created a product that's also bad. And so I guess there's a cautionary tale in trying to oppose this big, mega corporation that has a bunch of ideas that you don't like and is not listening to the fan base, and then creating something that just has a bunch of different ideas and then doesn't really, nichifies its fan base. They listen to the people that like them and sniff their farts and are in the echo chamber. But if you have any criticism, you're just, they just cast you aside. And so they basically have become what they hated. They've become just another villain. So me as a person who hasn't watched wrestling in years, like, this is still stupid. I'm not going to watch either. But like,
well, you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Yeah. I'm talking about AEW, not WCW, even though WCW did that in the 90s. AEWs are a newer company from about a couple years. And now look, what did Jake D say?
So I don't know anything. So the preamble aside, I don't know anything about what you're talking about. So like, I don't know the backstory, the build up, and I don't know what they've become. So can you give me a little more insight on that, please?
Okay. So the backstory is, people mentioned WCW for the longest time. WCW died in 2001, I believe. They were bought out by WWE. So for that 15, 20 years, they were the only major wrestling company in America.
Monday Nitro.
There were other, Monday Nitro. That's gone. Now it's just Monday Raw. It used to be Monday Night Raw, Monday Night Nitro. Nitro got bought out because they were part of WCW, and they were just gone away for the past 20 years, basically. So eventually, there's they became stale as a result. They didn't listen to fans. They were the only game in town. So nobody, if there was a wrestler that people liked, and the people who ran wrestling didn't want them to succeed, they wouldn't succeed. That sort of thing kept happening because wrestling's fake. Sorry to spoil everything, but it's fake. And so as a result, there were a lot of people who were frustrated. And then there were a bunch of different wrestlers and different smaller organizations in America, and then international organizations that were wrestling in Japan and other things. And because of the internet, they became more popular, and they had like the fans on their side because they were doing things a little bit more according to what really a certain fan base wanted.
Okay.
And
my impression is that, because I watched during the Attitude Era, I watched WWE during the Rock and Stone Cold and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I my understanding is that was a little edgy for what they have now. Now everything's a little more family oriented. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct.
Okay. So is that what this? Okay.
One of them, but that was one of the criticisms, the fact that it's family oriented, the fact that they don't let, like back in the day, The Rock would write his own shit. He would write what he said, and Stone Cold would write what they said. But nowadays, WWE writes everything for everybody. And so that makes everyone sound just boring because, you don't have The Rock talking shit and coming off the cuff. And, a lot of it was just off the cuff stuff. They had a storyline, but they would just talk shit off the cuff. That was what made it great, was just the fact that it was live and spontaneous.
Well, that's where you get all those characters. That's where you get like the Ric Flairs and like all those guys who have got great mic work.
Yeah. And so it's kind of, you lose that because you have one person writing for everybody, basically, or one group of people writing for everybody. So these are the things they're trying to get against. They're trying to make it more edgy, which they have, but just kind of like stupidly. And then they can be woke, but that's not really relevant. The point is like just the idea that they want it to be a fan-friendly thing. That was something they really, really did push. They really did push listening to the fans. That's kind of the thing. And now they only listen to the fans that like them. They don't listen to a fan that criticizes them. Now they're above reproach. Oh, you're just a hater. You just don't understand. Even though there are tangible things like their ratings starting to dip a little bit. Mm-hmm. Another criticism is WWE has a tendency of using older stars and making them embarrass younger stars. So you would have The Rock come in and do an 8-minute match with some guy you don't know, and that's what keeps that guy some guy you don't know. Or 8-second match where he just does one move and pins him. It's like, well, just don't have that guy do that because you make him look stupid, even though he's a new character that Rock is just going to be here for this one night. This guy who's here every week, you made him look stupid. But then AEW's done something similar. One of the few stars. This is in context, so I'm sorry if I'm losing people. But the guy MJF, who's one of the younger guys, and they had Chris Jericho, who's getting old and fat, put his head in the toilet and give him a swirly. It's like you just had this 50-year-old fat guy give your 20-year-old superstar a swirly. This looks stupid. And so they're doing some of the same things, but they won't accept criticism because they have fans that defend them, they have media that defend them, and they've created their own echo chamber. So there's just two separate echo chambers now. There's a WWE echo chamber and an AEW echo chamber. And as somebody who really hasn't watched either in the past year, it's like I don't really want to watch either. I may watch parts just to see how it feels. And I'm actually thinking about watching it and reviewing it on my channel just to see how I feel as somebody who doesn't watch wrestling as much but still has some knowledge of it. But it's basically they end up becoming a lot of ways. Yeah, maybe
you should do a live companion stream to like whatever AEW wrestling event is there. You should do a companion stream and talk about it. That would be cool.
Yeah, might get some different eyes on the channel.
Yeah, it's like the way Rogan does those MMA fights. Like that would be cool.
Yeah.
Oh, Mike beats out.
Hell, Mike beats. Hopefully, I didn't bore you with wrestling. I know no one likes it, but I just see this parallel. I can't even vouch for it. That's kind of the point. But just the idea of this group kind of becoming.
No, I think that's fat. I really like the idea of exploring, like people swinging from one echo chamber to the other. I think that's a really fascinating because that's like a phenomenon that happens. Is that people, if you're kind of the type of person who would fall victim to an echo chamber to begin with, there's no reason to believe you wouldn't fall victim to the next one because it's kind of like there's a personality type that wants to be around only people that agree with them. I got to be honest too, like being a part of this community, it's really comforting that we all have the same touchstones and not that we all have the same point of view, but we all have the same like knowledge base and we're all kind of like at least on a similar side of a lot of it. It's like there's no one here is going to come shill for Lucasfilm or something like that, and it's like we don't have to contest with that. So it is nice to be in a community with people that are kind of on the same page. But there is that tendency where I knew a woman back in LA and she was a lifelong liberal, lifelong like hard left type of woman. And then I guess, the COVID lockdowns and the election stuff, whatever, I thought she was just kind of more becoming more enlightened as to free thinking. But then after a while, she starts dropping in Q stuff. And I'm like, I mean, all right, but like, that's all speculative, all that stuff. I've never read it, but my understanding is that it's all speculative. So even if it's true, you don't have evidence that it's true. So you can't just believe so you just traded one echo chamber for another one. And it's like, you didn't learn anything.
Yeah. That's really the moral of this story, the long and short. I know it was a lot of details. That's the moral of the story. You're trading one echo chamber for another. And what you said is kind of like, I don't want this ever to become an echo chamber. That's why as much as Uche, especially with after that Zack Snyder thing, as far as I'm concerned, gotta do my Wakanda forever. But even though I accept his apology and appreciate his apology, I still wasn't the fondest of how he handles things. But
did he apologize? I must have missed that.
He did apologize at some point, and I forgot where, but he did.
Can you find that, man? Because I've just been out of the loop.
Yeah. It was around the time it happened. So let me go off camera and see if I can find it. I think it might have been on Twitter. So I'm going to check the old Twitter.
Yeah, because I didn't know about that. This is the first I'm hearing about it. But I've just been living and moving life for so long, and I didn't realize how out of the loop I was till I finally had time to settle down and start listening to everything again.
Yeah, no worries, man. No worries. But the thing is, I'm glad Uche, even though I don't really, agree with a lot of the stuff he says and a lot of things he says, I'm just glad he's here to just keep us honest. And even if we disagree with it, just to listen to it, because I don't want to be an echo chamber guy who's only listening to people I agree with. And I hope he's not the guy who tweets a lot. Okay, doesn't look like he's got
no, I appreciate that. And I like that Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers cultivated that community of people that he doesn't agree with. I think that's really intelligent. and it does keep a diverse audience. Therefore, people can attach themselves to the viewers that they like. The thing is too, like, I don't want to become in an echo chamber either, because that's how you kind of get a little stale with your thinking. But at least at this point in history, the other side of the discussion is pretty much every other discussion. So I'm not really too worried about that just yet.
Yeah. And then I guess part of me, maybe it's just me as a content creator in my like daily existential crisis, but it's like I don't want to just be anti-woke, and that's all I am. Like, woke stuff bad. Yeah, it's like, what the fuck? Well, who wants to watch that? Who's going to watch me? I want people to watch me because I'm entertaining or smart, which I'm neither of those things. But you guys, Ascension Dildo probably is already letting me know. But I'd rather I'd rather have fun, believe it or not, than just constantly woke stuff bad.
No, 100%. I got bored with it on Monday, and I was just like, I got annoyed even just saying the word woke. I was like, oh, does it always have to be about this? Because that's the other thing too, is like, as much as they're annoying, it's like now we can't stop talking about them. It's like, the part of the problem is that we're at this time in history where it's such a dominant force in culture. It does need to be addressed, but I'm with you. Like, I don't want that to be my thing. And, if by God's good grace, somehow the woke stuff recedes and the entertainment goes back to entertainment, I don't want to be standing there like, well, now what do I talk about?
Yeah.
I gotta be mad about something. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking through this guy's Twitter. Maybe I did not see it. I thought I saw him. Maybe he didn't. If the chat can fact check me on whether or not Uche apologized for how he treated
Uche. I thought you meant Zack Snyder.
Oh no, Zach hasn't. No, Uche.
Oh well, whatever. Uche can say whatever he wants.
Oh geez, I thought you. No, Zach. Of course, Zach didn't.
I thought you meant Snyder.
I thought no, Uche. I was looking for Uche.
Shit. Whatever. Uche.
Yeah, but no, Zach.
Oh,
of course not. Of course not. Sorry, man. Sorry for the misconception. No,
it's okay. I just was like, I don't want you to bother, hunting it out. I thought it was Zack Snyder said something. I was like, oh, what did he say? That must change the conversation.
No, he didn't say anything. He just went out like a little biatch.
Yeah, I think Mahler made him look like a fool. If anyone has not seen an unbridled rampage of Mahler's critique of the Justice League, it's like it made Zack Snyder look like a dummy, and it was like it kind of made some strong arguments for what Joss Whedon's choices were.
Yeah, I did see that.
You're kind of like, well, all right, that's actually a pretty good point. He's like he was trying to create some semblance of an arc. Yes, it was clunky and goofy, but at least it pays off, kinda. I was like, not a bad point. I mean, and I like he kept pointing out, I still think that Justice Cut is a pile of shit too. But it was very insightful. That guy's a smart son of a bitch.
He is. Yes. Snorterpoopus Cuber says he's too subtle for Snorterpoopus. But you are a polar bear, so I'm not sure.
He's a bit too subtle. Yeah, he really doesn't he kind of tiptoes around it. He doesn't really lay it out there. Yeah.
And Jennifer Cisco has to run. So take care, Jennifer.
Oh, bye, Jennifer Cisco. We'll see you Friday for FNT with Critical Drinker. Can't wait.
Yeah, and appreciate you being here.
That's awesome. Critical Drinker he was my favorite creator for a long time. But I love Gary's, Gary puts out so much and I just love him. So he's my favorite, but Critical Drinker's close number 2.
Yeah. Critical Drinker's the man.
He's the man.
He's the man.
He's the fucking man.
I'm a big fan. There's some movies I need to review before he gets to them. I gotta get some older movies. I gotta get reviews out to before he gets to them. I mean, his are going to be better. I just want to you don't want to be like, oh, you did this because Drinker did it. It's like, no, I did it because I wanted to.
Well, we did the Con Air stream, and then I saw that him and Gary did it, and I was like, we did it first. All right.
Yeah. But that's the point. Yeah, well, we had it first,
bro.
So I wanted to has he done Fifth Element? Because I wanted to do Fifth Element long.
He did a video on it. I don't think he did like a long stream about it, but he did. We should do something like that. We haven't done a movie appreciation stream where we're just enjoying something.
Yeah, I mean the closest thing was that Christmas Chronicle.
Yeah, but that was like 4 months ago.
Yeah, we should do something.
Should definitely do something. That would be great. Let's figure out that. Let's find the next movie we can do. Maybe if it's like an obscure one, we could do Matt's obscure movie recommendee show, something like that. Or chat if you guys have any ideas.
Yeah, chat. What movie do you want me and Matt to talk about?
Yeah, because this is an interactive community and it's nothing without you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I did want to talk about we did have a couple culture villains slain.
Oh, yeah, we did.
They did get I guess some other vigilantes must have got them. Some agents who fight for the order must have taken them down in our stead. But the New Gods writers, they got axed.
Sacked. Let me see. I think here it is. I'll pull it out real quick. Yeah, and I was happy to see it. I mean, I am a DC guy. I'm not super as well versed as like Thoth and a lot of other guys in the community, and I'm not as well versed on the New God specifically.
I was listening to a little bit of Young Ripa's video. His Justice League history video is pretty badass. It's really thorough.
It is really good. And he talks a lot about the New Gods.
And he talks about the New Gods, and that was kind of where that's my only real knowledge, is just what he was talking about, but it was pretty interesting. So Ava DuVernay and Tom King's New Gods film. DuVernay and Tom King, their film got axed.
Yeah, after 3 years of pre-production. And
that's fucking awesome, dude. There are some people inside of Warner Brothers who just want to make money and don't want toxic creators and just want fans to buy shit again. There are some people in there that are powerful and are making moves. We have some allies at Warner Brothers, I think.
I agree with that. And I don't know if they're allies like they like us. They're just like, they're not buying this
let's
shit.
not go crazy. Let's not go nuts.
Yeah. They just want like, hey, the chimps aren't buying shit. Why aren't they buying shit? You know what I mean? The ants aren't buying shit anymore. Why aren't they? Oh, it's because you guys are idiots. Okay, we need new idiots to get the ants back. So I think that's really what this boils down to. I don't think this was a benevolent, for the culture of superhero of geekdom. It's just like, hey, these guys are idiots. I don't want to make another what's that shit? People keep talking about the Eternals, but I think everyone forgot that New Mutants shit that went nowhere.
Oh yeah.
They don't want to do that. And oh my god, I don't know if I should mention Sentient Dildo trying to get everyone yeeted and ruin everyone's channel. I don't even want to reference it, man.
I shan't.
Yeah,
Google it at your own peril.
Yeah.
That was so funny.
And then Robert with when I hear DuVernay, I think of the French toilet that washes your ass. That's a bidet. DuVernay is
comparable. I think the French toilet that washes your ass has got more value, though.
Ugh. I mean, I don't know Ava DuVernay's value as a human. I just know she's not valuable as a writer because she wrote, was it Wrinkle of Time?
That's her, right?
Yeah, not the most successful of movies that got made ever in history. I don't know how that movie got made.
The woman who did Selma.
Did she do Selma?
Yeah, she did. You know what's funny? I actually had a conversation with her one time at a party. I was working and I was just talking with her. I didn't know who she was, and she was actually okay. And all this is me just speaking truth to power, guys.
Yeah.
No, but like she was actually super cool. I didn't know who she was, and we were just talking. And eventually she told me that she directed the movie Selma, and I was like, oh, there was some controversy with that movie. And she goes, well, really? And I was like, yeah, the fact that the movie got nominated for Best Picture, but you didn't get nominated for Best Director. She's like, I don't care. She's like,
really?
Yeah, that was her reaction. She's like, I just want to work. I don't care. Like she didn't give a shit. I was like, oh, cool. Like, wow.
Isn't that interesting? Some of these people are woke for they have G for P, but woke, W for P. They're woke.
Fucking hilarious. Woke.
They're woke for pay. They're not really woke. They're just like, Because you would think if she was really sincerely woke, she was like, "Yeah, this is because of black woman," and she was just, "I don't give a fuck. I gotta."
Or she would have taken it as a teachable moment to teach this white male something. Yeah, no, she just honestly, she was really cool and funny. Like she was, and it was a party for Dre and Ice Cube.
Oh
and,
shit!
No, I don't mean. Yeah, no, Dre and Ice Cube. Yeah, and like they were there, and it was like a cool party. And she was just like, "Yeah, have I stayed long enough?" I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, you've been here for like a half hour, 45 minutes." She's like, "Okay, cool, I'm gonna go." Like, I made an appearance, and now I can leave. Like, she was just chill and down to earth.
Yeah.
I can't say anything. I mean, that's the only interaction I've ever had with her, but she seemed cool to me.
But that makes her seem like a normal human being,
right?
And not someone who wrote a woke dumpster fire.
Yeah,
I almost feel bad she got fired now,
right?
And she was so nice, like but that and I think a lot that's starting to make me think a lot of these people are just woke because it's popular and just like, what did Gary call these guys, like cosplayers or something like that?
Well, let's also consider this fact. Selma came out in 2014. All right. True. So this may have been 2014, 2015, around then. This was a few years back. I can't, all those parties blend together. But she might not have been full on woke back then. She might have just been into black issues. I mean, it's a whole thing about Martin Luther King, right? And so maybe she was just a, educated black woman who gave a shit about this particular topic. But what happens a year later? The devil himself becomes president, and they all lose their fucking minds. So
he's orange.
Might have something to do with that. Yeah, it's like, who knew the devil was orange? They see, that's funny. Why wouldn't they say something like they suck?
Like they're not even clever.
They're not even clever enough to say something like that. Yeah. So maybe she just, I don't know. Maybe she had a wire go loose too. I don't know. When I met her, she was cool.
Yeah.
Now I feel bad.
The FBI is here, Robert. Open up. Ladies and gentlemen, we got them. Is there any interesting thing?
Hide the drugs, kids. Feds are here.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Now, you know what? My first thought was Goodfellas and Karen flushing the cocaine down the toilet and then Henry coming back being all pissed.
Karen, we needed that money.
Yeah.
They found it. I flushed. They would have never found it. I'm sorry.
If you guys haven't seen Goodfellas, it's one of the best movies ever made.
Oh my god! If you haven't seen Goodfellas, leave.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Even go see it.
Yeah.
Or after the stream, go see it.
After the stream.
Yeah. Oh, now he's definitely not a cop. I don't know about that, Robert. I don't know. A little suspicious now.
So have you actually? Wow, A Wrinkle in Time has a 4.2 on IMDb. That's hilarious. Have you actually ever seen this?
A Wrinkle in Time?
Yeah.
No. I had no interest.
See, I read the book, and the book is great. But I remember that was back when I was probably in grammar school, middle school when I read that. But I remember really enjoying the book. But I'm sure the movie's garbage, but I'm just wondering how woke is it?
I don't know.
The first review on IMDb is 1 star titled, "I want to gouge out the part of my brain that remembers this movie."
Oh boy.
That's the first review. That's awesome.
You know what? Maybe that would be more interesting, even though she was apparently nice. But looking up the IMDb of Ava DuVernay.
I'm looking at her IMDb. I mean, this is kind of, she didn't really do much. She's done a few TV episodes. As a director, she's directed like a few TV episodes. Some typical stuff like, I guess, what's a Scandal and, I don't know, Battle of Versailles, something I've never heard of. Nothing that's like, it's just whatever. It's just everyone kind of directs those once in a while. But she doesn't. I don't know. I mean, I want to know how woke it is. Like, she created the show Queen Sugar.
What is Queen Sugar?
Follows the life of three siblings who moved to Louisiana to claim an inheritance from their recently departed father. Oh my God. A 800-acre sugarcane farm.
Okay.
Okay.
So, well, now, as much as her stuff just sounds terrible, Tom King is indeed like a male feminist.
Tom King can go fuck himself. Yes.
He's super woke, super not just woke, super like impotent as a man. Like if every character being an ineffectual, like sad husband or boyfriend isn't like complete self-insert.
I heard you say that. Then that made me laugh. That was very funny. Yeah. Beta male.
Yeah, because he's beyond beta. I like every single like. You know how Gary owned a comic shop and got kicked out of 3 high schools and
no shit, really?
Yeah.
What?
Didn't
know that. Okay, that's interesting.
Ben Shapiro's wife is a doctor. You know.
Oh, okay. Yeah. More characterization of these people.
Yeah, and that same way Tom King's wife cheated on him. It's just like a thing. He will never get over it. He will never.
It's an indistinguishable characteristic.
Yes. It's just like a part of his
Joe Rogan does DMT.
Yes. Tom King's wife cheats on him. Like, that's it. And it's just insane to just have that, to keep like to every book is Batman getting left at the altar, some character with a mommy wife crying. It's just like, get over yourself, guy. So it's a miracle that he won't be able to write anything.
What is the deal with comics and this infestation of like political like activists and like why comics of all mediums?
It was easy to get into. It was easy to crack because, and you know who breaks it down is EVS. He is these fucking simps. I'm not bullshitting.
No, I'm laughing at Sensitive Dildo.
Oh,
Matt used to be an actor.
I'm from Detroit.
Yeah.
You know, she is.
Oh, man.
Nope. Yeah. But it's just like I almost lost my point because that got through me for a loop.
No, you're saying it's easy to get into, and EVS broke it down.
Oh yeah. It's easy for the people to have infiltrated the comic industry. It was very easy. There was a lot of simp ass writers and thirsty ass writers who let a lot of feminists in because of thirst.
Okay.
And then they got in. Some of them like and even Gary's talked about Warren Ellis, who let a lot of ladies in and maybe had a little fun with a lot of these ladies and then got Me Too'd a little bit later. After they got in, and then they let their friends in, and then all of a sudden it's been a few years. Now they're the execs, they're the hiring managers, they're the HR, they're the framework.
That makes sense. So that makes a lot of sense. And I think even further than that, I think a lot of woke ideology, people don't necessarily have a strong counter argument to it, and a lot of people are just that believe it are like a little too meek to disagree with it. So it's like they kind of get caught up in it from that angle.
Very true.
What the fuck? The Islington girl, what the fuck is thirst for feminism? Look, I understand what you mean by that, but in certain communities, like especially like LA, like I didn't know girls who weren't feminists. I did, and those are the only women that were close to me. But like, it's everywhere, and eventually you have to have sex with someone. So you're gonna have to, hide the fact that you think they're full of shit for a while, so you get some work in because it's, you got to live. That makes sense that a bunch of dudes like that, who are like, oh yeah, no, totally, I agree, men are terrible.
Yeah, and then also and then there's if you ever see Yellow Flash's streams, he starts off with Yub Nub. The guy, he sings this like weird Star Wars song. He's like a fat neckbeard guy. He'll like show the clip of him singing. If he's the guy who helped let in a girl named Heather Antos, who was the editor at Marvel who couldn't edit, but because she was cute. And that's how she got in. Basically, it's this fat guy, this fat beta orbiter who apparently did not get laid, but I don't know that he wanted to, but that's what I'm guessing. I'm guessing no, you don't get you a job in here. They're okay. And then all of a sudden you have some crazy bitch running things.
That is really interesting. It's kind of like the very nature of the guys who were like into making comic books is the reason why it was so vulnerable.
Yep. Basically it. That's basically it.
It's such an interesting exploration because if I never got into, like the YouTuber community, I wouldn't know about that kind of stuff just because I didn't really get into comics. So it's just there was like this revolution inside of the country, inside of entertainment that I would have never known about until I started listening to people talk about it. Just kind of a silent takeover.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I do have like little stories where I can look back and say, "Oh man, this was super woke." I talk about the little WrestleMania story. And then even with comics, I remember reading one comic and it was so like it wasn't even the craziest woke thing comparatively, but for me, I'm like, "What the fuck?" Like a comic in 2018 and BLM was involved. I'm like, "What the fuck does BLM have to do with superheroes? This is stupid." And I'm just like, I'm not reading this shit anymore. But that wasn't even the tip of the iceberg, it turned out. But it just as a normie, I saw this. It's like, this is stupid. Why am I reading this?
That must have been insanely aggravating for comic book fans because comic books has always been this niche hobby that was kind of just going on in these like corners where normies and mainstream people never went and always kind of looked at like yeesh. And then like the first time it starts to get normie attention, it's immediately subjugated and bastardized for some ugly agenda. That must have been very upsetting.
Yeah. Oh man, male feminists are getting killed. But Robert, who's definitely not a cop, asked, does Matt have any crazy Hollywood stories?
I know, I saw that. Definitely not a cop. Most of my like interesting Hollywood stories are just kind of like encounters, just sort of being near people and having like brief conversations, like J.K. Simmons not liking Chris Nolan, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
But no, I mean, I nothing comes to mind. When it comes up, I tend to talk about it, but it's, I was very much on the outskirts for my time in Hollywood, so I don't have too many in the belly of the beast stories.
Yeah. No eyes wide shut party?
No. I mean, I did bartend this guy's house where I was like, I feel like the next moment is going to be everyone puts on masks and an orgy breaks out, because it was like all these old dudes and then all these like young chicks, like, 20. And I was just like, what the fuck is going on here? And then I found out that there's these services where you can basically hire models to just come to your party. You just pay them, and there's like an agency, and the girls will just show up like because they're getting money to be there, and you give them drinks and food, and that's their whole
to be sexy at a party.
Yeah. And it was kind of pimp. Like the guy, I don't know if he was like hooking up with them, but it was kind of like had like a Hugh Hefner vibe. Like they were all just hanging out with him, and we kind of knew him. And then like I ended up making out with one of them because it was kind of it was cool to do. They were all kind of like, like nudging me, like, go do it. Like, okay. If I was bartending, like I was working, like I wasn't an invited guest. Like I was like, this is fucking weird. Yeah. So
you almost became part of an Eyes Wide Shut party. Maybe
kind of. Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Oh man.
All right. So I want to do the story.
Let's get through the story. After nearly 3 years of pre-production apiece, Warner Brothers has announced that they will be passing on both the Ava DuVernay and Tom King-held New Gods film and the James Wan, Peter Safran Aquaman spinoff movie, The Trench, which actually I don't really know much about The Trench, I'll be honest. And Nick Wise is in the chat. Maybe he can enlighten us a little bit more about The Trench. Hell, Nick Weiser. And the statement provided to the Hollywood Reporter, once again, Warner Brothers explained, as part of our DC slate, some legacy development titles, including New Gods and The Trench, will not be moving forward. We thank our partners, Ava DuVernay, Tom King, James Wan, and Peter Safran for their time and collaboration through this process, and look forward to continued partnership with them on other DC stories.
A small SUV ready for big adventures.
Oh, heavens.
Say hello to the Hyundai Kona.
We're sponsored by Hyundai now. This is a big development for the channel. Things are going really well here at Foulball Productions.
Hyundai. Fuck you for just stealing our advertising. It just popped up.
Yeah, you got to pay to get spots on this channel, buddy.
Yeah.
Damn
so
right.
Don't buy a Hyundai, anybody. I mean, you can, but don't. Don't do it because we told you to, because we didn't. What was I talking about? Oh, our partners, Ava DuVernay, Tom King, James Wan, Peter Safran, for the time and collaboration through this process. Look forward to the continued partnership with them on other DC stories. Their projects will remain in their skillful hands if we were able to move forward, or if we were to move forward in the future. This is the nicest firing I ever heard. We'll collaborate them on other stories, and if we do this in the future, they'll still be in their hands. We're just not going to do it. And yes, Boomer Williamson. Boomer more than Gary, if you're counting.
What do you make of this?
It says boom.
What do you what do you make of this canceling or whatever this is?
I think this could mean, you know what? I don't know what to make with Warner Brothers. They're fucking all over the damn place. I don't know if they know what to make of this. I don't know if they know what they're doing. So I would like to think that this means that they have a better idea and they're just going to get rid of a lot of the bullshit, and they're going to focus on things that will make money. I would like to think that the Snyder Cut and Godzilla vs. Kong, which it was technically a legendary movie, but they distributed it, made them think, hey, people want a simpler action type movie. They don't really want all this bullshit. But I just can't help but to think Snow the Poopa's Q-Bird being a big towel.
Big towel.
I can't Bears going their own way. Sorry. But I guess, I would like to think that, but it could also be, hey, we have a better woke idea with Ta-Nehisi Coates and J.J. Abrams. So I don't know which way
That's a good point. I mean, they still have Ta-Nehisi Coates doing friggin' Superman.
Yeah.
When was that? Do you remember when that news was?
Ooh, like a few weeks ago? Maybe a month ago?
So it's after AT&T bought it. That could be kind of out of the Kathleen Kennedy playbook, where you just announce a project with like a really woke person attached as kind of a power play.
Mm-hmm.
When you see like your organization, there's internal fighting, and the non-woke people are trying to take control from the woke people, and that's when Kathleen Kennedy's like, "There's going to be an all-new female Star Wars show," and clearly wasn't a sanctioned thing. So this could be that. Oh yeah, Ta-Nehisi Coates writing Superman. We made it. Now we just said it. Now it's true.
Yeah, and not only that, I mean, that's a whole nother thing, because they're stuck. Because they want to get rid of a lot of these Snyder characters, but they have The Rock, whose production company is already done. They already did Shazam, and they're doing a Shazam sequel, and then they're doing Black Adam and the Black Adam sequel. So altogether, that means 4 movies in your slate are going to be produced by The Rock, and he's starring in 2 of them, maybe 3 of them. So he has some say, you know what I mean? He has some pull, and he wants to have Henry Cavill in his movies. So that means it's like, okay, what? Are you going to have 2 Supermen? Are you going to just say, Rock, we're not going to do your movie how you want it, even though you produced this movie? And I'm sure he probably has 8 to 9 figures in his pocket, or his production company does.
And I bet he's got a good goddamn contract too.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. So I can't imagine they can't. I'm sure he has enough creative control, creative pull on his own projects, that he's probably going to end up getting Henry Cavill back for his stuff. And they're probably going to end up with 2 Supermen. That's my prediction of what will end up happening. I don't see how they can get out of either.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, with this one, with the New Gods going nowhere, the Superman Ta-Nehisi Coates one could go nowhere too. Like, that's not in production. He's just been hired to write it. That doesn't mean anything. They call it production, or what do they call it? Development hell. They call it development hell for a reason, because these things can go on for years and years and years, and who knows if it goes anywhere, if it even comes to fruition. So I don't know. This could be encouraging. Is Warner Brothers the one that did Birds of Prey movie?
Yeah, it is them.
which was a joke and a disaster, lost some money. And did they also do the Charlie's Angels movie?
I don't know who did Charlie's Angels. That's a good question, because if they did, that would be quite a few woke movies to lose money.
That were huge losses. So it could be they're like, all right, we're not playing this game anymore. You know, we eventually have to make money. Because that's what it sounds like. I mean, the only reason they would do the Snyder Cut, I mean, other than them being like starving for content, is that they're, listen, like you guys, yeah, we get it. You're gonna have all these new fans and blah blah blah. Well, it's not paying off. It's not working, and we do need income to our services. And now that we're in charge, this is what we're doing. If you don't like it, you can go write for someone else. But this is how we're running the company.
Yeah, and I just looked. It's Sony that did Charlie's Angels.
Okay, Sony. Okay.
So Sony,
But
they did do Birds of Prey, which was a huge disaster last year, and so much so that even though it came out like 3 or 4 months before the coup, they still tried to add, the coup slowed it down, even though it was out of theaters, but it was the coup's fault. Like, no.
What was the last Warner Brothers like Batman, like DC movie that was universally well received? And I already know the answer as soon as I asked it.
Dark Knight.
The Joker.
Oh, the Joker. You're right. The Joker. You're right. It's the Joker. I was like the Dark Knight. But before that's the Dark Knight. It's the Joker, and then you have like a 12-year gap. And it's still the Joker was the reason for that. So really, the Joker has been the only relevant thing for DC the past 20 years.
And the Joker almost doesn't even exist in their it exists outside of the DCEU because it's so much different. Maybe it's a dream, which I don't believe, but it's one of those. It's clearly standalone. It's not canon really. It's just a movie that is an interesting exploration of the character, but they're not doing anything with that universe, which shows you how fucking stupid they are. But
Nick brought up Wonder Woman. That's another one that was.
Oh, good point.
First
good point. The original Wonder Woman was extraordinarily well received and was universally liked and made a lot of money. Okay, Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman was probably the as far as this canon. That's the answer.
But that's kind of it, right? Those are the only hits. Like they've bungled every single thing else that they've put out. Yeah,
that's a lot of. I mean, well, okay, I didn't see Shazam or Aquaman, but I didn't really have a desire to see them. I know they both made money. They are moderately received. Shazam was good, definitely like Cop, aka Robert says.
But I don't know if they were like nailed it. You know what I mean? They were like, fine, good. That's about as much love as I've heard for it.
Yeah, they're fun and they're fine. Sort of things. I don't think either was as good, or at least as beloved as Wonder Woman. So Aquaman was mixed reviews, but made a fuckload of money. Aquaman made money because ladies like seeing Jason Momoa with no shirt on, which is
Momoa moves tickets, no question about it.
Yeah, sex sells.
Homeboy is shredded. Let's be honest. I mean, in Justice League, I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, him and Cavill, I get it, man. They look like superhumans. They work really hard. Hell, Ironcaster. But
they really do. I always thought Momoa, like I loved him as Khal Drogo because he's just so big and like you're like, wow, that is like a call. That is like a horde leader. You're like, that guy's cool.
he does. He has a badass persona.
He does. I like him.
He does it off well. So, yeah.
All right, my friend. Well, we're going. We're at 2:15. Is there anything else that you wanted to get off your chest?
I was going to ask a question. I just doxed myself. I did it.
Oh no! Did we just see the bitch? I didn't see it.
Oh my god! I knew one day I was going to do it. I didn't know it was right now. Fuck me.
It was for an instant. Everyone, that stays between us. Okay. You guys are all
shit.
We're all deputizing all of you as culture crime fighters, and you have to protect our own.
I have it covering my face, like part of my face. I knew because I was trying to close it out, the little thing. Fuck me! I did not think today would be the day I doxed myself. Oh man! All right, you guys saw me. It had to. It was gonna happen. It was gonna see it. If you could, for real, Matt, there's a way to edit that out. If
sure, I can do that.
Yeah, all right, I appreciate it. So I started doxing myself. No, I have nothing to say. I have nothing to say at all.
Yeah. I don't think I do either. What did I heard something. Oh, you know what? There was one more thing, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to pull it up on my phone because trying to do it on the Chromebook might destroy the stream.
Yes.
So, okay. Bridgerton star reportedly rejected for TV role because of race. Bridgerton breakout star. I'm going to try to pronounce this. It looks like Regé Jean Page reportedly lost a gig on Sci-Fi's Krypton after an exec argued the role could not be portrayed by a black actor.
What?
I'm not entirely sure where this goes, but I saw it trending on Twitter.
Let's see.
Okay. DC Entertainment reportedly passed on Bridgerton's breakout star for the role in Sci-Fi's Krypton after before his star skyrocketed with the release of Shonda Rhimes' hit period drama. Page auditioned to play Superman's grandfather in the action program, according to the Hollywood Reporter. Despite the Krypton creators' reported desire to diversify the DC extended universe, then DC Chief Executive Officer Jeffrey Johns allegedly said Superman's grandfather could not be black.
Well, because Superman,
he couldn't. I mean, unless Superman's black, doesn't that make logical sense? I mean, genetics are still a thing.
It does. Well, apparently they don't think I'm black because I'm light skinned, which is cool. Because I'm not. You're right. I'm not black. I'm just whatever. I'm not.
I'm Korean, actually.
I'm Korean. I'm Roof Korean.
Yeah. I'm from Quebec.
I'm from Quebec. I'm from anywhere but what I say.
Anywhere but where you're from and who you are.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't get what he's saying. Like, this white character, their grandfather can't not be a white person. Well, no, because that's the genetics. Why would that?
It says, JT, holy crap, V-Dub's white. It says, in a statement paraphrased Tuesday by the Hollywood Reporter, these guys love race baiting, a rep for Johns defending the casting decision on the grounds that the Hollywood exec, quote, believed fans expected the character to look like a young Henry Cavill, who was white and plays Superman in the DC films. Yeah, seems like a reasonable course of action. The starring role in Krypton, which ran for 2 seasons in 2018 and 2019, eventually went to the actor Cameron Cuff. Does anyone know who Cameron Cuff is? Do you? I don't know.
No, I've never heard of him.
Cameron Cuffy with an E.
Huh.
And he's a white guy. He kind of looks like Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
Great. These are so racist, these people. What monsters. Okay. On Wednesday morning, Page posted a tweet appearing to comment on the Krypton casting process. His reps for Page did not respond. Hearing about these conversations hurts no less than it did back then. Oh, I bet he's talking about the Ray Fisher thing.
Oh, boy.
He wrote, without specifically mentioning the controversy, the clarifications almost hurt more, to be honest. Still just doing my thing. Still we do the work. Still we fly.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. But the role is not a black guy. Like, well, how can that be upsetting to you? It's like, what? I can't go out for a woman.
He said this role can't be played by a black man. Therefore racism.
But I was an actor. Since until I don't know if you knew that about me, but I was an actor, and I would never. Why would that bother me? Like, it's a casting choice. Like, how could I be upset by that fact? It's like, yeah, but the guy that you're is your great grandson is Korean, so you can't play his grandfather. Like, oh, okay, that makes sense. It's too bad. I'd like the role, but why would I be like, oh, this hurts. This like imbalance. It's like, what are you talking about? This is just there's nothing here. There's no story.
Well, they said now I keep thinking of Superman. If Superman could have a black grandpa, Islington Girl says. Or maybe his black grandfather was caught by a white guy.
Wouldn't it be weird though? Like, that's funny. But wouldn't it be weird if like they just cast his great grandfather as a black guy? Like, wouldn't you be like, wait a minute, what's up with that? That's kind of weird.
Yeah, it would be like, this doesn't make sense.
Right. And you'd be like, oh, it's another diversity casting. And it would take you out of the show. It's not a bad decision at all.
Yeah.
The Krypton revelation is one of multiple allegations leveled against Johns. Oh, this is smear campaign. In the Hollywood Reporter's new profile of actor Ray Fisher, who opened up about alleged mistreatment he experienced at the hands of Johns and other powerful DC figures. Yeah, this is a power play. They're just trying to get everyone in on this one. Okay, that makes sense. To just credit everyone there, including embattled director Joss Whedon, who helmed the reshoots for the Justice League. Last year on Twitter, Fisher, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, this is just glomming on in some kind of a power play.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? We said that earlier when we were talking about the Ray Fisher thing, that maybe this is all publicity. Maybe this is written by the publicist.
Yeah.
And I think that this gives it a lot of credence that, there's more to it. And so this is why, if you're critical of this bullshit, you have a right to be. I don't like defending DC or Warner Brothers because they got a lot of bullshit on their own. But
yeah,
this is ridiculous. This is very
ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous. I mean, it's just it's like, if it's just a power play thing and they're just trying to get rid of other people, okay, that's one thing. But they're using very real accusations and very real life issues to do it. It's very gross. It's very exploitative. And it just kind of activates people and misleads people. It's a pretty gross thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Thundercats Ho says hit the like button. Thanks, Thundercat
Ho.
Ho.
Hit the like button. Hell Thundercats Ho.
Yeah.
I mean, I've said it a million times. They use all these issues, whether it's race, gender, whatever, as shields and weapons for their own purposes. It's never about what they say. What they say is irrelevant. It's always about what they can do and what they can gain for themselves. Excuse me. It's all about what they can gain for themselves.
Yeah, there's no honor in it. There's no just authentically, this is what I feel. Everything has an agenda or something behind it. It's not just, it's really gross. All right, well, I just want to cover that. We can wrap it up now.
Yep. Yeah.
Wanted to say thank you to everyone who hung out. Jake D, Snorter Poopus Q Burr, the Islington Girl, F Night SA, Sentient Dildo. You're not welcome, but everyone else is. Thank you very much. Thundercats Ho, Ironcaster came in there at the end. Brightest Day, definitely not a cop. Hail Red Skull, of course, as we are all minions of that evil overlord. We're all in his coven. 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser. If I missed anybody, US Dutch Kitty. If I missed anybody, I apologize. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Fucking A. Oopsie daisy. And
hopefully you guys didn't screencast me, because that might be the end of Vigilante Williamson.
Please don't do that.
Did. Yeah. Because that would really suck. And hopefully we can, because I'm gonna try to get the stamp, because I can't believe I did that, because I knew it was going to happen one of these days.
That's so funny. I'll try not to look when I edit it out.
I mean, you could. At some point, I was probably gonna let you know who I am and shit. I imagine. So whatever. But
thank you guys so much. Really appreciate you guys all hanging out. Make sure you sub to Vidge if you have not, because we will be on his channel next week. So if you like this show, same bad time, same bad channel, but it won't be the same bad channel. It's going to be Vidge's channel. So take a look. This is the Culture Crime Fighters. We are a Culture Crimes Task Force, so powerful, so far-reaching, not even the most dastardly of villains can escape. Our goal is to identify and defeat all culture criminals wherever they lurk and destroy them. For too long have these cretins carried out their nefarious deeds, and we will sit for it no longer. Beware, you may commit your culture crimes, but if you do, justice will be served at the hands of the Culture Crime Fighters.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Sorry, I haven't really put added point, but yeah, fucking villains. We're tired of your shit.
Tired of it. All right, guys. See you on the next one. Be well.
Love you all. Peace.